Normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Carmichael Dave here, welcoming back my dear friends at Fire Wings. 21 different flavors. I had 4 of those 21 Saturday for the game, watching with the family. As always, breaded Malaysian curry. Yeah, you better bet I got that curry. Knocked it out of the park, too. Go to firewings.com to make your order. That's what we did. We ordered 2 hours in advance, picked it up. There's nothing better for the game than Fire Wings. Check out the locations nearest you. Fire Wings, just wing it.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sacktown Sports. Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Good morning. Welcome into Sacktown Sports. I am Charles T. Hamilton with my mainest man, Chris Watkins.
Oh, man.
Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass, running the show. And Chris, I have a question for you. And can someone explain Jimmy Butler to me and an extension to Miami Heat?
Sure.
But what I'm getting at is Jimmy Butler somehow goes from a top 15, maybe 20 player in the NBA during the regular season to top 1 or 2 during the postseason. And it's not just, I mean, we're going to get into a couple things, but it's not just that he wants it more or he has the dog in him.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I hate all those cliches.
Oh, no, I keep hearing it.
I've heard it too. But he was 36 of 103 from 3 in the regular season, less than 2 a game. Okay? Yeah. Made less than half a game.
Yeah, it's not great.
He's already made 16 in the playoffs. Like, he changes his game in the playoffs. It's just something I've never seen before. And I am a very pragmatic, logical person. Like, I need quantifiable stats and reasons in front of me as to why things
He's got that dog in him isn't good enough for you?
It's not good enough.
Okay.
Heat culture isn't good enough.
He
wants it more. Oh, we're going to get into that, too.
Okay.
Because I don't know if he's him or not.
Yeah.
Is he? We're going to get into that. But I'm to the point now with the way that he's played, the way the Heat have played by extension, but it's mostly Jimmy Butler. Like, they get some good performances out of the other players, but without Jimmy Butler, none of this is happening. No. Where I'm pretty close to just accepting the cliches. Like, maybe he does have that dog in him, and that's all there is to it. This is the only time I've ever gotten close to it, but I'm still trying to figure out what the deal is. I want you guys to tell me. Hit us up on the phones, 1-800-920-1140, or on the text line, 339-1140. Also, what are the best and worst cliches out there? They don't have to be sports related, but go ahead and hit me with them, because I'm just...
You're not a big cliche guy?
I mean, I use them sometimes.
I use them all the time. All of the time.
I try
it's
not to.
It's going to be a long 2.5 hours, buddy. Let me tell you.
We got it with you till 12:30. But I use them sometimes, but as the only explanation, I'm just not down with them. So go ahead, hit us up. Let me know if you have a take on Jimmy Butler and the Heat.
What is
if you can explain it to me,
please.
And best and worst cliches. Let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, to try and answer your question, because frankly, like I don't think there is a good answer, because you kind of said it in your lead in there. I've never seen anything like this. Ever. Like we traditionally during the playoffs, that's the time where stars shine the brightest. But Jimmy's like that fringe, really, really, really good. Like if there's a current, not necessarily Hall of Fame, but if we're talking about the upper echelon or upper tier of guys, Jimmy's just falling out of that. He has his moments during the regular season, sure, but there's never times during I don't even think he didn't even make the All-Star game this year. We're talking about a guy who, and not because clearly not based off of skill, but just for whatever reason, how the season plays out, he's not needed to be a star, especially in this Miami Heat system, which is more about the collective than the individual.
Yeah.
But come postseason, I think it's kind of the nature of the game though as well. Like in the postseason, if you're going to find success, you need a star. First and foremost, you need a star. And Jimmy Butler has the capabilities of stepping up and being that guy. But it's all, and Jimmy, they need him every single night to be this guy. We're seeing from Jason Tatum and Anthony Davis, it's not just a given just because you have talent, just because you are a quote unquote superstar. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can just walk into any gym and put up 30. Like it's really tough. And so for Miami to be getting that every single night, but also getting contributions from other guys as well. And, last night it was Caleb Martin. It's been, it hasn't really
Duncan
been Kyle. It hasn't really been
up.
Kyle Lowry, but yeah, it's been Duncan Robinson. Bam Adebayo has kind of been underappreciated, I think, just with his consistent 15 to 20 points per game and filling up the stat sheet as well. I really think it's a matter of the collective for the Heat, but with Jimmy individually, I really don't know if there is a better answer than he just elevates his game. Like when the lights are at its brightest, here's a different cliche for you. When the lights are at its brightest, he shines and he really understands how to take advantage of the moment. And I'm looking at a StatMuse stat right here. The only players in NBA history to average 30 plus points per game, 5 plus rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals per game, on over 50% from the field, a little bit of a cherry pick stat in a playoff run, Jimmy Butler and Michael Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, cherry pick stat doesn't mean it's less impressive.
Right.
It still is.
Those are real numbers.
Yeah.
35 and 5, 2 steals on 50% from the field, Jimmy Butler and Michael Jordan.
And to just kind of reset, Miami beats Boston last night to go up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals, took both games in Boston. That's the other thing. This is in Boston, man.
Yeah.
Like they're going home. It was one thing to get one and flip home court advantage. They're up 2-0 going back to Miami. And we're going to talk about Boston too. Can you explain Boston to me? I mean, because that's another thing that I'm confused about. I mean, you know what? There are some answers there.
Yeah.
As far
as
a
medley of things, honestly.
Yeah. Late game offense, it's kind of your turn, my turn.
Right.
With Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart.
I was like, you got to throw Marcus Smart in there, okay?
Marcus Smart is like it's Marcus Smart.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure Missoula is like, all right, it's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum time, and then Marcus Smart's like, how's it going, Coach? You forgot somebody there. It's always going to be Marcus Smart time.
For sure. But, that's a little more explainable than Jimmy Butler all of a sudden turning into you could say he's the best player in the playoffs. I know you could say Jokic too, but when you factor in the teams around them
and how, if we're talking valuable, there's still the conversation for Jokic, but this Miami, here's another thing, Chuck, they're an 8 seed.
They were minutes away from being eliminated by Chicago in the play-in game.
Weeks
and now
ago.
they're up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the team that went to the finals last year. I just don't get it. I know you come to us, you listen to us for answers.
Real. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I got no answers.
We ain't got
Hit me with the
We ain't got the answers.
Because I don't know, man. He wants it more.
He's
got that dog.
Yep.
Big players make big plays.
Yep. Big shot taker, big shot maker for sure.
Look good, feel good. I don't know if that one,
elevates his game.
Elevates his game.
Yep.
Keep him coming because, I think we'll find a cliche that will explain all this to me. We haven't found one yet. But so another thing that happened last night, Grant Williams, and I
loved it.
I mean, I did too. But here's the thing. Chris,
I didn't love it for Grant.
Yeah. I mean, I think you
tough look,
can agree with me when it comes to sports radio, media, the take business. I'm not rooting for a team. I'm rooting for my take to be right.
Right. Absolutely.
And so seeing Grant Williams get some playing time and play pretty well last night, I'm like, of course you needed to play him. He's not amazing, but he's an every night rotation player.
Yeah,
so the fact that he has 6 DNPs in the playoffs already. And, he averaged 26 minutes in the regular season.
Right.
Like, he's a rotation player.
He is.
So he came in and he played well.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, you got to keep playing him.
Yep.
And then he hits a 3 and gets in Jimmy Butler's face. And it was something out of a movie. how good it was, because Jimmy has this look
like
are
is
you
this guy
kidding me?
like this guy? Y'all got this guy. This guy's talking to me.
That's been stapled to the bench the entire series. And so look, it's another thing where it kind of gets overrated.
Yeah.
Of like, that's what set off Jimmy and got them going. Again, maybe I have to buy into it because they went on a 22-9 run right after that.
I was like that. If that'll make you a believer right there.
And Jimmy went at Grant's head.
Yes,
for
literally.
the next 4 possessions to the point that Missoula's like, Grant, get back on the bench.
You got to get out because Jimmy was just attacking. That was bullying.
Yeah,
that was absolutely bullying what he did to Grant Williams, and he forced Joe Missoula's hand there to take him off the floor because it was very evident that if he was going to stay on the floor, Jimmy Butler was just going to keep attacking him and keep hitting it over his head. So, I
hope someone reported Jimmy to Adam Silver for the bullying.
Should have.
Like, this is not.
Should have. That's
we
not
don't
cool.
do this in the NBA.
That's not cool, man.
Told the guidance counselor or something.
Yeah,
right?
nah,
you cannot.
You cannot do that.
You cannot
man.
do that.
You cannot just straight embarrass a man
Yeah.
like that on national television and on his home floor as well.
On his home floor.
Down to, just the game, how the game played out itself was incredible for Miami to have that big comeback late in the game, and for that to be the thing that spurred it again. Like, it's got to be a cliche. It's got to be. There's got to be something there. Man. Like it's. You can't tell me that moment didn't have a massive impact on the game because the Heat completely flipped it around from there. And honestly, it looked like the Celtics got hit in the mouth and had no idea how to respond to it. And Jimmy clearly. I mean, it's we've seen it before. Jimmy Butler gets in people's heads, and it's not even necessarily with trash talking. It's just his doggedness, he's just really chirps at people and gets them to get out of their game.
It was gut check time.
Boom.
Okay.
It was gut check time.
He kept his eye on the ball.
Yep.
Had that Mamba mentality.
That's a good one, Kyle.
Oh man,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
That's another one we could.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
I might need to be retired too, but we know what we're going to work this out today. We're going to figure it out. But as far as Grant's concerned, he's still a useful player, man. But he's also the level.
It's a bad look, though.
It's a real bad look, man.
And now it's one of those narrative things that everyone's going to be looking for next time he checks in. People are going to, if you remember Jimmy Butler, Mark Jones, he gave him buckets like a well. I don't know. That's my best Mark Jones.
That's a good one. I was waiting. I mean, he needs to chime in on the cliche.
Yeah,
he's got the encyclopedia of them. But Grant Williams, man. You're also not the level of player that should be doing that.
Right.
And he's going to be a free agent too.
Right.
I still like him. I still think he's useful. I still think he might fit on a local team.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little later.
That's an interesting fit.
It is. And he really wasn't on my radar for the Kings until thinking about it last
Until he
night.
got cooked.
Yeah,
and then
until he got
like,
cooked.
Ooh, I've seen this
that
before.
might work.
The Sacramento Kings love that.
Yeah, they do. They love it. Oh my God, they lead the league in it.
He'd be perfect. But he just, you're right. It's a narrative. I do feel bad for him because, obviously there's no comparison, but trash talk is part of all sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did it whenever I played, and
I could see that.
Exactly.
I bet you definitely.
But it's just part of it, and then he gets cooked like that, and it's just going to be
so directly.
It's going to be. Part of his career moving forward. It's always going to be brought up, especially if they lose this series, man.
Yeah, and Boston doesn't forget. Not those. Those fan bases do not forget. Grant Williams might get booed moving forward.
And that's the thing. Boston fans are. I think some of them were already out on him, but after that, I think they're just like.
Well, they're looking for something to be mad about these days. How do you feel like this thing's over?
These days, you mean any day that ends in Y?
Yes,
Boston's looking for
right, exactly. They're looking for an excuse for a scapegoat.
I mean, look, after seeing the Warriors come, I'm sorry, Kings fan, but the Warriors come back 2-0. It's possible,
right?
But man, it's like 85% over.
I mean, the thing about the Warriors though is they don't have home court advantage. The Warriors still had home court advantage, ended up getting home court advantage. I just can't see. It's going to be incredibly tough for Boston to just flip a switch. I didn't see anything after last night's game that made me believe that they figured anything out. I think that they're still trying to figure out if they should go with that Rob Williams, Al Horford lineup, or if they should go smaller with Derek White in the lineup. I think they started the second half with Derek White and started the game with Robert Williams and Horford. So it seems to me like they're still trying to figure out their matchups on Miami. And that's kind of the beauty of what the Heat do, is they're just like, we play our game. We try and muck it up. We play incredible defense, and Jimmy Butler's going to lead us to the promised land. So I have a tough time seeing this. Maybe it goes 6. I just, it feels like Miami is not going to, let this lead go.
I feel like last night was a real gut punch.
Yeah. How about that?
How about that one?
That's a good one.
But honestly, like, that one hurt bad.
It had to.
The Celtics, I was comparing it to the Warriors Kings series.
Right.
The Celtics aren't playing a team that's in the playoffs for the first time either. The Heat are.
They've been there.
Yeah, and I have trouble seeing them not being able to wrap this up. I think, they'll get at least one in Miami up 3-1. And as we know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's all she wrote.
We'll see. But as far as we brought up Rob Williams, he hasn't been as impactful this season as he was last year, especially in the playoffs, which is a major part of their problems, because he was
everything for them last year. He was their goalie last year.
You could not get to the rim on him at all. And now Jimmy Butler is just abusing Grant Williams, and Rob Williams is on the bench, and Al Horford, as good as he's playing, he's 49, I think.
He's somewhere near that.
Yeah, right, just about. Yeah,
Al Horford's one of my favorites, though.
I
can't slander.
I'm mad that he signed the little extension with.
I know
the Celtics. Yeah, he's a useful, really useful player, even at, I don't know how old he is.
105.
Yeah, I think 70, 60,
like
8
that.
maybe.
Won a college basketball championship in the 80s.
Yeah.
That
was with Lou Holtz.
Is that the Notre Dame coach who talks a little bit like this?
Yeah, I think his tongue's too big for his mouth or something like that. But yeah, he was a hell of a coach. He was a football coach, you guys. Grow up.
Yeah, sorry. That was childish.
No, it's all good, because I was going to do it if you didn't. So.
Lou Holtz is fair game, not a good.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
At this point. Before we knew as much as we know about him now, you couldn't do it.
Yeah,
now
that was not chill. Now it's like,
go for it.
Yeah, not a good person.
Now you
not the best.
Now you got the leeway. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I got the Heat basically wrapping this thing up 6 at most.
Right.
6 at most.
That's what I feel. I feel like it's going to be 6 at most. Boston, if Boston gets swept, I would be shocked. But honestly, I mean, clearly we're trending towards that direction. I think Boston probably takes 1 at Miami. I would guess they probably take game 3. But I think this thing is over. I don't see Miami, I didn't see many cracks in Miami's game. I didn't feel like Boston had figured anything out besides Jason Tatum, please save us.
Yeah,
please give us 40. And he's shown he can't do that on a nightly basis. And honestly, in the fourth quarter, he's been terrible. I mean, that seems to be the story of this playoffs is just guys not showing. LeBron still hasn't, whatever. He's 1 of 20 in the fourth quarter from 3. Jason Tatum turning the ball over left and right, can't hit a field goal in the fourth quarter. To me, that's the kind of thing that ends up bearing you in the playoffs, is the guys that you need to step up, not stepping up in the moments that are absolutely crucial.
Other than the end of game 6 and game 7 against Philly, he hasn't been good in the fourth or really second half of games.
Right.
And they need him. I still think he's a great player. I got a lot of great things to say.
Don't trade Jason Tatum.
No, absolutely not. That's the Eastern Conference Finals. I got one more thing I want to get to about that. But also we have game 3 of Lakers Denver tonight. Denver up 2-0. Well. That's another one we're going to break down. That one might be a little closer to over than even this Miami Heat game, but we're going to talk about that next year on Sacktown Sports.
The King season might be over, but Sacktown Sports coverage never stops.
I feel like we grew a lot during this playoff series with our defense, and if we can sustain that during the year, that's going to help us a lot.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Are you ready to finance your first home or your next move? Well, let Safe Credit Union's local mortgage team help you get pre-approved before you start looking for that perfect home. Jason Ross here, and now through June 30th, get a $900 lender credit when you choose Safe Credit Union for your home lending needs. And Safe's mortgage team has an excellent record of personalized service because they're all about you. You'll know exactly what to expect and feel supported during each step of the process. Apply for a Safe home loan today at safecu.org/get900 and let Safe put you first. Safe Credit Union is an equal housing opportunity lender.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Everyone knows Elk Grove Kia is home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new Kia. But did you also know that Elk Grove Kia is your one-stop place for used cars? I'm talking over 300 used cars available. With Kia's certified program with its 165-point quality assurance inspection, we know peace of mind on used cars is important. And that's why we also offer extended service agreements on all our used makes and models. Most prices are under Kelley Blue Book retail. New car protection at used car prices. From used sports cars to used delivery vans, we got them all at Elk Grove Kia. And our financing folks have over 100 years of combined experience. So we approve just about everyone. No credit, little credit, bad credit, no problem. And Elk Grove Kia is proud of our don't like it, bring it back guarantee for up to 3 days or 150 miles, no questions asked. Why would you buy your used car anywhere else? So check us out online at elkgrovekia.com today.
Turn your highway into a smileway. Elk Grove Kia.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes. But I'm not a criminal.
Youth Advocate Programs is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration, congregate placement, and neighborhood violence. Learn how at yapinc.org.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Sacktown Sports, Charles T. Hamilton here with my guy, Chris Watkins. Yeah, dude. We just talked about the Eastern Conference Finals. There's one more thing I want to get to about this because it's kind of our job to blow things out of proportion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
No, maybe we will, maybe we won't. But when Jaylen Brown was asked last night about the situation with Grant Williams and getting in Jimmy Butler's face,
right,
he just said, next question.
It's never the good answer.
It's not, because
no comment and next question.
Because maybe
always speak louder.
Maybe he thinks that's a stupid question, and doesn't want to do the whole.
It's for the birds.
Yeah, that's another good one, man. It's for the birds. Doesn't want to do the whole cliche thing. Two competitors, man. Just hearts of champions going at it. You know, maybe he just didn't want to do it.
Dogs,
or maybe he's absolutely pissed that. Grant Williams is getting in Jimmy Butler's face,
amping him up,
and then they go on a 22-9 run right after that, and Grant gets gets his skin cooked off.
Right,
by that's a good one.
That was a good one. I've never heard that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
but yeah, he gets absolutely cooked by Jimmy Butler right after. So I don't know. We look too much into this stuff, but it's something that happened, and it's why you have to be careful with the media when answering questions, because then a couple idiots like us are going to be like,
how's it going?
We're going to be like, there's problems.
Definitely some problems.
Locker room problems for sure.
Brewing in Boston.
Coming up next.
Come on. Okay.
I'm Mike Greenberg.
You need a good tease.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation it's. How would you feel if you're a teammate of Grant Williams? I feel like I would be pretty upset.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you said. I would definitely be like, hey man, we were up 10 in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Could you not poke the bear?
Yeah.
The bear was kind of sleeping a little, and you might have woken
hibernating.
it. Yeah. And
another one.
a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get Jimmy going, and that's absolutely what Grant did. And it was a little premature celebration. You know, he didn't really have to antagonize.
We've all been
like
there.
that.
We've all been there. You're still young, but
shoot, you know?
Sure, let's go with
Sometimes
that.
you just got to pop off, I guess. You know?
Sometimes
you're just feeling yourself.
One more thing I want to say about the Heat before we move on to the Western Conference Finals. We've talked about Jimmy. We talked about some of the role players. I mean, they have 4 undrafted free agents.
More than that, honestly.
But as far as like contributors,
yes.
last night was Gabe Vincent, Strus, Duncan Robinson showing up,
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin. So, I mean, they do deserve credit for that, but also we have to mention Eric Spoelstra, who is just flat out the best coach in the NBA. I mean, is there an argument? Go ahead and hit me up. Argue. 1-800-920-1140. Text line 916-339-1140.
Not gonna hear nothing from me.
He's the best coach in the NBA.
I think he is absolutely the best coach that we have in the NBA right now, especially when you factor in X's and O's, when you factor in not being afraid. We saw him contest Jimmy Butler. People forget about this Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra beef that happened, a month, under a month before the end of the season, where Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra are literally screaming at each other after a timeout.
Spoelstra's like, what, do you want to fight me?
He literally said, are we about to throw down right now in the middle of the third quarter on the floor?
Yeah.
So the fact that he has that kind of respect from his players and he's not afraid to push back against his biggest name guys, and the fact that he's created this, I know you don't like it, but the Heat culture is a very real thing. Like, we know, you can tell who a Miami Heat player is just by the style of play that they have and the system that they run in. It's what he's been able to do. Obviously, he started underneath the Heatles era, and there was a lot of turmoil to get things started there. LeBron wanted him out. Pat Riley had to vouch for him and say, no, this is my guy.
Yeah.
And then all these years later, for him to have 2 rings.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 rings. And pushing for a third right now. I looked up the list yesterday, there's only 5 or 6 coaches that have over 3 championship rings.
Yeah.
So if I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but if Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat can pull this off, we're talking about really rarefied air for Eric Spoelstra in terms of the coaching ranks all time.
Well, so when I saw those two going at it last year, immediately I was like, oh, those two guys have that dog in them.
Talking about Kerr and...
No, Spoelstra. Spoelstra and Jimmy.
Oh, absolutely.
They got that.
Oh,
dog
when you
in
saw them
dude.
going back and forth.
Yeah. That's why they're where they are, man. They want it more.
They want it way more.
I still can't buy Heat culture. I'll change it to like Jimmy Butler culture.
I don't know.
Heat culture is too.
I feel like it was even before that.
I know it was. I mean, it's been a saying that they've
definitely coined for a very long time. Yeah. But Jimmy's Jimmy's a perfect, not product of Heat culture, but he is absolutely like the quintessential, like, this is a perfect representation of what Heat culture is.
If someone fits the cliche of Heat culture perfectly, it's Jimmy Butler.
Right.
No question.
I would also argue upcoming free agent Dylan Brooks really fits Heat culture as well.
We got some Dylan Brooks talk coming up.
Ooh.
And I disagree.
Stay tuned.
His offense would not. Well, we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Dylan Brooks is such
he's incredibly
polarizing. Man. My opinion changes on him minute to minute. So we'll get to it.
I think so.
We'll get to it. But, we got to talk. What would the Lakers culture be?
It's a great question.
Overrated?
Definitely overrated. Yeah, like that. That comes with the territory.
Overall, I don't want to hate on them this year because they are in the Western Conference Finals. But overall,
yeah, like if you do something for the Lakers, like Kyle Kuzma is a perfect example. Kyle Kuzma came up early in his career on the Lakers, and when he succeeded, you would have thought, oh, Kyle Kuzma is about to be the next great small forward. He's the next Paul George. The way they're talking about him. That's what I would say Laker culture is for sure. It's just overrating, overhype. Definitely, it's more about hype.
What is Kuzma? He didn't be the next Paul George. He's the next
Rashard Lewis.
Tobias Harris,
is a better shooter. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You know what? He's one of one.
Another cliche. That's a good one.
Come on.
I like Kyle Kuzma.
I do too. No, he's a good player. I'd like him on.
Solid.
I'd like him on my team, but I'm just
super
saying,
solid.
as far as, but yeah, it got blown up as if he was going to
Yeah.
be like
For sure.
the third guy.
Yeah, they were exactly during that title run.
Yeah.
Alex Caruso, you could argue, fantastic defender.
Yeah.
I think he just earned first team all defense. Legit on that side. But when he was with the Lakers, you would have thought that this guy was Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
You know,
Remember Talon Horton Tucker?
Oh my God, the THT hype. That's Kyle. Such a great call.
Good job, Kyle.
Because that is like the quintessential overhyping of the Lakers just because.
And they
he's a
picked
Laker.
THT over Caruso as well. So
They
it was
did,
between
right?
those
Yeah.
two. They let Caruso walk and sign with Chicago and gave THT the extension when really they could have just signed them both. You know, they're for being the Lake Show, they're pretty cheap.
Pretty cheap.
But
They
anyway,
sold low and traded him for Beverly.
yeah, yeah, they did. Who's where he was? He ended with Chicago.
Yeah,
right?
he ended with Chicago. Yeah.
Useful player, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got Nuggets Lakers game 3 tonight. I mean, again, you know, Nuggets are up 2-0. What do you want? Nikola Jokic is amazing. Jamal Murray, you know, here's another cliche. He's back, but
He is back.
he's back to a higher level than he's been since he got injured.
Right.
He seems to be peaking in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Porter Jr. But he's at least he
miss.
can at least hit some shots.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Aaron Gordon as well. Playing
Aaron
really
Gordon,
well.
perfect situation for him.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't have to really shoot much.
Nope.
Just defend, who's kind of been an underrated defender, I think, throughout his career.
sure.
Like they've talked about his defense, but he's showing when your role is go defend
and stand in the dunker spot.
stand in the dunker spot, man. He can really you know, be a star in that role. That's another one. But,
Yes, being a star in your role
star in your role.
absolutely is a cliche.
But really, so here's another cliche because
we're just throwing them out.
I know, man. There's a lot of them. It's must win tonight for the Lakers.
It is. No,
But it really is.
yeah,
I mean, obviously
right.
it's must win. It's so funny to me when a team, it's an elimination game. And
It's like
must win.
Must win tonight.
Like, no
Sherlock.
No shish. So it's must win tonight. Lakers, if they go down 3-0, it's over. I mean, it
It's
just
over.
is.
Right.
And I think it's over anyways.
I do too.
They don't have an answer for Jokic. They have the deeper team. It's cool that guys kind of show up out of nowhere on the Lakers. Like D'Angelo Russell will have a game. Austin Reeves will have a game. Lonnie Walker will have a quarter.
Rui Hachimura continues to just baffle me every single night.
That's another one that doesn't make sense where he just was not this with the Wizards.
With the Wizards, right. For 3 years now, we saw him
And
not be this guy.
It's not like his game changed. He just all of a sudden is an efficient shooter.
Yeah. Could call it the Braun.
Well, yeah. You know what?
Which is
You could.
another cliche.
Yeah. Braun culture, man. So
I think what you just pointed out right there is my biggest reason why I just don't see the Lakers getting it done is Austin Reeves and Rui have had back-to-back 20-point games, and they've lost both of them. You're not going to be able to get that kind of contribution from those guys every single night, and that's on the road as well, where your role players typically aren't going to play as well. Unless Austin Reeves has a 30-point game incoming, I can't see those other guys putting up performances like what they did in Denver either. And I know Anthony Davis is also part of that equation as well. He's got to be great every single night. You know Braun's going to give you 20 to 25 to 28 points based
One
off
of
of how
7
he's
from
feeling.
3.
Hopefully,
Yeah, really.
that'll be better than last game.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like the Lakers. It feels like the Lakers have reached their peak. I mean, it's impressive that they even made it this far in the first place
Put
after
this team together
how
kind
they
of on the
started. Right,
fly.
put it on together on the fly.
But
LeBron coming off an injury right before the playoffs. You know, I just think the Lakers have met their match.
I think
and
they ran into the title favorites.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Denver, just because they weren't talked about all year. They were front runners.
Yeah.
They were in first place all year long in the Western Conference, and they've been the best team all year, and they're continuing, and they've played like it all throughout the postseason as well. They've been incredibly consistent. Jokic has been great. Jamal's been great every single night. They've been the best team.
I mean, Monty McNair, I think, had the best offseason last year, but I would put, I forget who's even Denver's GM. 'cause I know Conley left. But he had the second best by getting Bruce Brown, signing Bruce Brown, trading for KCP, which was a great trade, but also it was a toss-up because Monty Morris
on paper, it's not a good trade, and then it paid off.
Monty
for him.
Morris is a great backup point guard. He could be a starting point guard. He could be. He's kind of Tyus Jones level, where like you could start him. but he could also be the best backup point guard in the game.
Don't get me started on the Jones brothers.
Like him?
Love them.
Okay. Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Big time.
You know what?
I'm very high on both of them.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into. I am surprised that Tyus Jones re-signed with Memphis. I think he could have gone and got more money and started somewhere else. But we'll get into that.
Yes.
But
didn't mean to throw you off. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Now where am I?
I don't know.
What
we were talking about the Nuggets.
Miami Heat. No, I'm just kidding.
Calvin Booth.
Calvin Booth,
Calvin
the
Booth
GM
is
of the
GM
Nuggets. I think he had the second best offseason because he was able to surround Jokic with the type of players that he needs. And it's so easy to say, go out and get 3-and-D guys.
Right.
There are 30 teams looking for 3-and-D guys.
Yes.
And the fact that they got Bruce Brown on the taxpayer mid-level, which might have been the best offer out there for him, which is crazy to me.
Nice.
He's got a player option next year.
Yeah.
Definitely going to opt out. Maybe another option for a certain local team. We'll talk about that in a minute. But KCP, completely underrated because of, he had his problems off the court. He had the situation where he turned down the $80 million contract in Detroit, playing with LeBron, all these things that kind of underrated him, overshadowed him.
Right.
One of the top 3-and-D guys in the game.
Yeah.
Perfect fit with Jokic. Drafting Christian Brown, which is something that
oh my God,
I
crazy
love that Michael Malone and the Nuggets are actually willing to play him because he can give you something. We saw with the Warriors and other teams refusal to play Jonathan Kuminga when he can give you some defense. Christian Brown is not a good offensive player yet, but he can come in and give you defense. So they did a great job. I'm picking them to, I'll go gentleman sweep just because I think LeBron and AD will pull out a game, but this feels pretty close to over. I know I'm saying it 2 games in, but you got any?
Nope. I don't have any hot takes for you. I think just like you said, I don't know if it'll be the perfect gentleman sweep. I don't know if it'll be the actual definition of a gentleman sweep, but I think it'll be 4-1 series.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris.
What up?
Christopher. You know what the Lakers have going for him?
What?
Heart of a champion. Heart of a champion.
That is definitely the worst.
That's the worst
for
one,
me.
For sure.
That is definitely the worst.
For sure. Things are pretty bleak for the Lakers right now.
Yeah, doesn't look
but
great.
Things have been looking up in Sacramento. I got some burning questions about your Sacramento Kings. That's coming up here on Sacktown Sports.
The Kings season might be over, but Sacktown Sports coverage never stops.
It's probably one of the best starting points I could have had starting in the NBA, Sacramento.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Hey kids, Carmichael Dave here. Memorial Day, it's really the year's first big outdoor party. Friends, family, fun, and food. Man, Amy's Outdoor Living has food options for you. Maybe even change it up a bit with a new Uni pizza oven. Think about it. Dogs, burgers, and pizza. You're a hero. 100%. Right now at Amy's, save 20% on a new Uni Caru pizza oven at just $239. $239 for a pizza oven. You ready to barbecue? The Traeger Timberline 850, that's the one I have, and the 1300 Geb one are reduced by $600 for Memorial Day. Amy's also has a great selection of umbrellas in stock, perfect for shade in this warm weather. Need patio furniture? From now to Memorial Day, Amy's will pay the sales tax on all in-stock patio furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Amy's Outdoor Living, El Camino near Watt, and inside Amy Ace Hardware in the El Dorado Town Center.
At Progressive, we know how much you love your recreational vehicles, so we decided to record this commercial in an RV.
With a family on vacation.
Mom, who are these people?
Oh, that's Flo and Jamie. They're recording a commercial, sweetie.
Don't they do that in the studio?
Oh, normally.
No.
But we wanted to feature a family who bundled their home and RV and saves with Progressive.
Yeah, it looks like you're all out of chips.
Okay, I think we'll just drop you off at the next gas station.
Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So, if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma? Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Uma. Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources today. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, Charles T. Hamilton, with my mainest man, Chris Watkins. You know, I don't want to get too into it, but this is a pretty cool thing, you and me being in here together.
Crazy.
Again.
It's wild. I used to be on the other side of the glass back in the day when you were on the ones and twos, doing
Friday night football.
Friday night football action. You know, way back. What was that? How long ago was that? That was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, at least. I mean, because I've been gone for at least for 3 years. So it was 4 to 5. Yeah, we
all the way from it.
Some fun doing that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind finding some of those.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure those archives are golden.
Actually, maybe we shouldn't find them.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
It was a lot of you and me just kind of going on max preps, hoping that it would update, and then just. You know what's actually really crazy? Real quick side note is the only player that I remember us talking about almost every single week when we did that show, Cameron Scadabo.
Oh, running back, right?
Running back,
Yeah.
Sac State. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if you've kept up with Sac State football these past couple of years. They've had,
didn't they? Yeah, they've been killing it. Right?
They've had like the best stretch of performances in their history.
Stingers up! Shout out Jay Ross!
Absolutely.
Shout out Jay Ross!
Shout out Jay Ross!
Okay.
And Scadabo's been their lead back. He just transferred to ASU actually this season, this offseason. But he's incredible. And every time I would hear him at going crazy for Sac State, I would always be like, We knew. Every single week, the dude was putting up like 280 yards and 5 touchdowns for Oak Ridge's Cam Scadabo.
I remember the what was it? The Ngata brothers from
Yeah,
Folsom.
right, from Folsom. They were nuts. One went to
think.
Clemson. I think
Arizona
the running
State,
back
maybe,
went to Arizona State or
U of A.
Michigan. Maybe.
Oh, okay. How do you feel about the transfer rules, man?
Man,
where what I'm referring
go
to
ahead.
is that you can transfer without having to sit out a year,
Yeah.
and it's gotten a little crazy. It's
gotten
almost like
nuts.
free agency.
It's exactly free agency, and it's a new level of recruiting. It's a different way. The thing that I like about it is it has created a good amount of parity, more specifically in college basketball, where you see these teams that are almost sold like Kentucky. Kentucky used to be a team we all know, De'Aaron Fox, all those historic one and dones. Like Calipari's kind of switched his strategy a lot more to recruiting the transfers, the grad transfers, and the normal transfers as well. I don't know if it's helping the overall product. I think it's great for the kids.
Yeah.
Because obviously, having to sit out that year it's kind of unnecessary. It was, you're still attending the school. You're just kind of on probation from the NCAA for playing. It was pretty pointless. It was, I don't know. I'm whatever
You're
on it.
wasting a year.
It's
the
better.
best.
It's better for the kids, which I think is what's most important. I'm not trying to think about the kids,
You
but
gotta think about
the kids. But
what about the children?
The business of NCAA, I don't necessarily know if it's making it better, but as long as the kids are
The
getting
business
benefit.
is the players, though, and I'm with you. It's
Right.
best for the players. I like it though because it allows guys better opportunities. Like Jaden Daniels is a perfect example. I remember him. He's LSU's quarterback right now, but I remember him when he started at ASU, I believe, and I'm a Cal Bears fan.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry, guy. I mean,
that's an interesting choice.
Well, yeah, it happened.
It happened.
Okay? I'm not proud of it right now.
Well,
it's tough.
It's been a tough couple.
They play football?
10, 15 years, huh?
They do.
Cal Memorial, beautiful stadium.
Beautiful stadium.
Beautiful. Nice renovations.
People thought they lost the program when A-Rod's left, but no, they're still gone.
Nope.
But, Cal was in on Jaden Daniels. He ended up at ASU, I think, or U of A, whatever, one of the Arizona schools. And he was a good player. And, they're not very good football schools.
Right.
And then I see him pop up at LSU, and he's getting an opportunity at LSU nationally that he wouldn't get at the Arizona school. So anyways, I like it. I agree with you. There's its problems, and I don't know. I don't even know how we got here. Chris, why'd you do that to me?
I didn't do it. I swear I just sat here and answered your question.
That was on you, man.
That's my bad.
Well,
that was my fault. Actually.
Transfers are like free agency.
There you go.
This
Reel it in.
Upcoming NBA offseason.
Yeah.
The Kings have some free agents
to acquire.
Boom. So, anyways, back to the Kings. That was great. Yeah, that was sick. I'm a pro.
Yeah.
The Kings, something we talked about, and I mean, it's a talking point all season. So first thing, Chris, I want to know if you agree with me or not. And my opinions changed slightly since 2 weeks ago, but I think the Kings had the second most successful season in the NBA behind whatever team wins the championship. I'm going to tweak that a little bit. If the Heat make the finals, I will say third best because that's absolutely insane.
That is what it is.
But still, top 3 most successful seasons because of what they were able to do and build, and not just build it for 1 year. It seems like this is going to be something moving forward, something they can consistently do moving forward. I have them in Penn as a playoff team next year, in Penn as a top 6 seed. But with that success comes expectations. Expectations to improve, take the next step. Next step doesn't mean finals and MVPs for De'Aaron Fox. You can get better while having a worse record, but there are things they need to improve at. So my question for you and for any of the listeners, hit us up 1-800-920-1140, 916-339-1140 on the text line. Where do they need to improve? And then do you have ideas how? Free agency, trades, internal improvement. I mean, maybe you think there's an assistant coach they should go after. Or,
I'm deep in the woods.
Yeah, like whatever it is, let me know. But I want to hear from you. Because you're the Kings guy. Return of the Roar, baby.
How's it going? Good plug.
Where can they improve and how can they do it?
I think, in my opinion, I know there's been a lot of talk about, and rightfully so, and I think it is the most important issue to address immediately is the Harrison Barnes situation and what to do if you're not going to bring back Harrison Barnes at that spot. But I truthfully still believe that this team's biggest, most glaring weak spot continues to be backup center. It was the thing that they should have addressed at the offseason or at the trade deadline. They didn't. They just tried to continue to patchwork the backup big all season because they had options. That was the thing. They threw out Chimezie Metu. They gave him 20 to 25 games to let it work in the rotation. That was early in the season. They tried Rashawn Holmes. That didn't work out. They tried Trey Lyles at the 5, and I think it was very successful. I just think they didn't like the matchup with Golden State to run it out too much. And then obviously at the end of the year, they went with Alex Len for the final 15 games or 10 to 15 games of the season. And, mixed results on that. They ended up having to go away from it after 2 games in the playoffs after the Warriors figured it out. I just think the backup big, you saw what Kevon Looney was able to do the entire first round. You saw what Kevon Looney was able to do in the third quarter of Game 7. You need some big physical presence out there, A, to grab rebounds, B, to be just a presence at the rim. Doesn't necessarily have to be a rim protector. But number 3 is
a deterrent.
You do need somebody who does deter people from going around the rim. And then offensively, they still have to be able to fit within the offensive system as well. It doesn't necessarily have to do the Sabonis thing and be the team's North Star, but you have to be able to be a good screen setter or do something that they can still have you involved in the offense and not cluttering up the paint for De'Aaron to get to his drives. So to me, the backup center is still the most glaring and obvious spot that the Kings need to address. And I feel like the conversation has swayed a little too far, and not that it has with Monty, but just with the public. I feel like people are focusing a little bit too much on that 3 spot and need to probably shift the focus to the thing that plagued the Kings really all season long. Do you agree?
That's interesting. Yeah, I do.
Because the Harrison Barnes spot is crucial.
Yeah, I do agree. Mostly because of what we saw in the playoffs, where as good as Sabonis is, that was just a bad matchup.
Yeah.
And you need options. And I think...
And you can't play him 40 minutes.
No,
or 45 minutes. You can't play him 40 minutes.
I do think they should try and retain Trey Lyles because he's a different option. He's a stretch 4 who can play small ball 5.
Yep.
So that gives you a different look. And then the third look they need is, like you said, a big body, rim protector, deterrent. and how do they fit within the offense? Does it work? But so here's my question, because I was such a Rashawn Holmes fan. What happened with Rashawn Holmes this year? Is he cooked? Was it just a bad fit?
It was a weird season. It was a really weird season.
That they really couldn't get anything out of him?
Yeah, I think it was honestly, it's been a really long time since we've seen Rashawn, and I'm trying to even remember the moments that he played, but it was mainly defensively. You know, defensively, he had a hard time getting onto switches, and he would kind of get singled out a little on defense and get exposed, but also just with the way that the Kings were bad all around defensively, he's not really an elite rim protector. And so with the poor perimeter defense, you know, they would funnel him into Rashawn, and Rashawn, again, not being the best rim protector, kind of struggled there. Offensively, he doesn't run the Domantas Sabonis offense, so you can't really, use him. Yeah, you can't really use him like a passer and like a, in the high post quite like that. And he's not really a great screener. It's just everything that the Kings needed. The Kings really just need a guy who knows his role. They don't need whatever. They don't need another star. They don't need a Miles Turner or anything like that. They just need a backup. They need a true backup center, a guy who's just your traditional big body, doesn't do anything special, doesn't have to be, super, versatile or anything like that. They just need a guy who knows how to be big.
So here's my question, because, we've heard this name a lot. He's a free agent. Who knows what'll happen with his current team? But Brook Lopez, obviously, would be a great fit. We all love him.
I love him.
He's, was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. He's a great rim protector. He can stretch the floor.
He
is a massive human being.
Yes,
he can screen. He can do all the things you need. But the problem is two things. He's going to need to start.
Because he needs to. He is a starter. He is bona fide starter.
If that is something that he wants, he will go start somewhere. And then on top of that, he's going to need so much money that you're going to lose Harrison Barnes. And now the thought is that they kind of work hand in hand, because you pay Brook Lopez, you need to give him a starting spot. That starting spot's going to be Harrison Barnes. You can slide Keegan Murray into the three as the starter. And theoretically, him and Sabonis can play together because of Brook's ability to stretch the floor. Right. But one of the things that's also funny to me when it comes to pairing Sabonis with another big, I mean, who theoretically would be the perfect fit? Miles Turner.
And it didn't work. Didn't work.
So that's the only thing that makes me concerned about that situation.
Yeah.
If you're willing, if that's the case you're being given here, is that, because they, in order to clear enough cap space, they have to rescind the rights to Harrison Barnes.
Yes, right.
Is that a move you'd be willing to make?
I don't think so. Not at the expense of because here they can perfectly transition over to the conversation about a three. I just think that you can't downgrade at that Harrison Barnes spot. I think that's really important for the Kings to maintain a certain level of forward depth and a floor for their forwards. And I don't love the I'm not even Twin Towers, but I don't love the running too big. I just think it doesn't work in today's NBA, especially with how Sabonis plays. He's a little bit more plotting,
Where has it worked? I mean,
not in the modern NBA. Right now, with the way the Celtics are running their offense, I guess.
Those are two different
matchup
bigs.
specific.
Yeah,
right.
Two different style bigs also. I mean, look, Brook Lopez would be great because it gives you the option to play him without Sabonis also.
Yes, exactly.
All those things. But yeah, there's a give and take with him. But here's the thing. If you do rescind Harrison Barnes, sign Brook Lopez, you still have the
mid-level exception, which is 12.5, and the biannual, which is 4.5.
Who would fit in at 12.5?
Hopefully Brook Lopez.
Dylan Brooks. Brook Lopez, I just don't see. Brook Lopez was making like
I think
12 or 13, I think. And now for a guy who was just, a defensive player of the year candidate, like you're going to have to pay him. Maybe you could give him a JJ Redick type deal. And what I'm referring to is when JJ Redick left the Clippers, he signed for 1 year with Philly at $24 million.
Yeah, right.
And then the next year they gave him like 12 or
Right,
something like
right.
that. You know, they were able to. It was
It's essentially a front-loaded contract that they're going to.
Exactly. So it
you
might
know,
be something like
wink,
that.
wink,
You might have to
handshake.
give him 2 years at a high price. I mean, I just don't think he would fit in at the mid-level, but I do think Dylan Brooks would. And what time is it? 10:55 on what's today? The 18th?
Saturday, the
20th?
20th.
10:55, Saturday, May 20th. It's kind of a good idea. We're going to take a break.
Yeah, we are going to take a break.
You know what? We'll see how I feel at 11 a.m. on Saturday, May 20th here on Sacktown Sports.
It was an amazing season for the Sacramento Kings. The coach of the year.
These honors don't come around often, and so you're very appreciative of them.
The clutch player of the year.
Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
And a return to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years.
16 seasons of frustration. Sacramento has clinched the playoffs.
Keep it on Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com for all your Kings off-season news.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day, and they're fun, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now try Babbel free. Text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Family-owned Clark & Rush, celebrating 60 years of serving Sacramento. It's time to convert your gas water heater and furnace to electric. Just turn to the experts at Clark & Rush and Carrier. We electrify more homes than any other contractor in Sacramento. Plus, we'll help you get up to $6,500 in utility rebates. We'll even do the paperwork. Call or visit clark-rush.com.
Smart energy savings is what we do. Clark and Rush.
Call 916-245-2829.
Are you ready to finance your first home or your next move? Well, let Safe Credit Union's local mortgage team help you get pre-approved before you start looking for that perfect home. Jason Ross here, and now through June 30th, get a $900 lender credit when you choose Safe Credit Union for your home lending needs. And Safe's mortgage team has an excellent record of personalized service because they're all about you. You'll know exactly what to expect and feel supported during each step of the process. Apply for a Safe Home Loan today at safecu.org/get900 and let Safe put you first. Safe Credit Union is an equal housing opportunity lender.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Many driving ranges have turned to hitting mats, with many of them using mats year-round. But according to Golf Top 100 teacher Martin Chuck, hitting off mats can give you a false sense of security, giving you the impression that you're a decent ball striker. There are a couple of ways to make sure you get the most out of your practice, and he shares them in Golf Magazine. First, approach the ball with purpose. Treat every shot like you would on the course. Stand behind the ball and visualize what you want the ball to do. Then walk in and go through the same routine you use during a round on the golf course. Second, try the towel drill. To make certain you aren't skipping the club head into the ball, place a towel a few inches behind the ball and try not to hit the towel on the downswing. This will help promote ball first contact. If you disturb the towel, then you know you're hitting the ground too early. Ball first contact is imperative. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sacktown Sports.
Friday night is football night. Big hits,
great plays, school spirit. All of that is on display and more all around Northern California. It's time for the Friday Night Football Show. Here are your hosts, Matt George and Charles G. Hamilton.
You know, I was going to get mad, Kyle, until I heard There Goes My Hero. I forgot that was the...
Is that what it says?
Yeah. Well, no, the song. At the end, there goes my hero. Wasn't that Varsity Blues or something when Mox throws the game-winning touchdown, man? I think we talked a lot about Varsity Blues on Friday Night Football.
A lot.
I mean,
why
wouldn't we? Yeah, we had 2 hours to fill.
2 hours of high school football.
Prep's barely uploaded, man.
Dude,
you know?
That's when I learned, like, oh, boy, like, this is
So quick explainer, that was our rejoiner for one of our old shows, Friday Night Football, the original. Chris Watkins, shout out Matt George out there too.
Yeah, shout out Matt George. Those were the days, man. Those were the freaking days. What was that? That was like 10 to midnight too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Every Friday, 10 to midnight, just putting in a shift.
We got pretty loose. I don't think we talked much high school football.
Not much high school football, but it was a good time.
It was fun. You know? We had some fun. Now we're here.
Exactly.
There goes my hero, man.
Yeah, we made it.
You know who my hero is?
Tyler?
Dylan Brooks. Oh, well, that was better.
Yeah, you should have said that.
Professional broadcaster.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, him. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Dog.
He was fine, but we're not talking about Tyler here. We're talking about Dylan Brooks.
No.
So we've been talking about options for the Kings this offseason, where they need to improve.
Right.
Chris, you're talking about backup center, some rim protection.
Yeah.
Because part of that, and I understand why, is if you have a good rim protector, it kind of elevates everyone defensively, where a single perimeter defender doesn't do the same. Like, I hate even bringing up Rudy Gobert because I can't stand him. But I know one of the arguments people made when talking about, other players, like, oh, so-and-so can guard 1 through 5. And they're like, well, since Rudy Gobert protects the rim, he guards 1 through 5 also, which is a terrible.
Oh boy, that is stretching.
That was definitely something out of Utah that you don't hear much about anymore, or the screen assist. But anyways, the idea of a rim protector does elevate the rest of the team.
Absolutely.
Because then perimeter guys can focus on the perimeter. They're not concerned about, crashing the paint because you got a reliable rim protector.
Yep.
There aren't a ton out there. I mean, there's a much lower level player like a Bismack Biyombo. And I know that's funny, but he's had a little resurgence with the Suns.
He really has.
And he's still a good rim protector.
I can't believe he's still in the NBA.
Yeah, me neither. Good for him.
There's a Kings draft pick. They took him, technically. They selected him and then traded him for Jimmer. So, could make his return back to Sacramento.
Biyombo or Jimmer?
Biyombo.
Okay.
Definitely Biyombo.
Nice. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Well, I'll give you a couple reasons why not, but we'll leave it there. But there are also some perimeter defenders out there who are available.
Yeah.
And as I've said, I talked about this 2 weeks ago. I'm talking about it today because my opinion changes minute to minute on Dylan Brooks. And I mean my basketball opinion. Personally, I can't stand him.
Yeah. The antics, not worth it. We were just talking about Grant Williams. It's the same exact thing.
It's the exact same thing. It's even worse because Dylan Brooks
way worse.
Is so unrealistic offensively.
That's a good
in
word
his
for
own
him.
offense.
Yes.
Like it's one thing.
Delusional.
That's the one. Give me a Draymond Green or a Davion Mitchell or one of these great defenders who knows their limitations offensively. It's one thing to be a bad shooter. That's fine.
Fine. Everybody's a bad shooter.
But don't take shots like you're Steph Curry. Don't take a 27-footer with 18 left on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time, his offensive performances negate his defensive positives.
Right.
But here's the thing, Christopher. Okay. For one, he was the scapegoat in Memphis. We can talk about Memphis too. Memphis is a joke. Somewhat rightfully so, but there were way more problems besides Dylan Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings could use more perimeter defense.
Sure.
Where we talked about a rim protector elevates everyone. If you can't get the right one, then you need better defenders, and Dylan Brooks is a better defender.
Absolutely.
He has more defensive versatility. Where as good as Davion is, and we all love Davion, he's guarding 1s and 2s, and that's it. And some 2s are even too big for him.
I was going to say.
Some 2s are even way too big for him. Dylan Brooks can legitimately guard 1 through 4.
Right. Second team all defense.
He's a hell of a defender.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked.
He's also got some grit too,
and
which this Kings team could honestly, truthfully, really use.
Thank you. Because that's part of it too. That kind of goes back to the Grant Williams thing. As stupid as it was, Celtics need that. They don't have that from anyone else.
Right.
The Kings need that from someone. Dylan Brooks could do that. Grant Williams could do that for him. I just look. Someone is going to.
Someone's going to get him.
I'm so torn.
Yeah.
Someone's going to sign him.
Yeah.
For
and it's probably going to be a great signing.
Yes. And also for value wise.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's going to be probably for a minimum. If I had to guess.
Here's one. The pendulum swung too far. Minimum? I don't know about minimum.
I think there's a possibility it's minimum.
I think that's too. Again, I think that's too far. But if you're right,
I think narrative wise, we've gotten there.
I would laugh. I'd have a good laugh.
He could get an $8 million mid-level exception, right?
Taxpayer mid-level at least, which is around 7. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone gives him the actual full mid-level. Not talking long-term, but with how the narrative is
I could see like a team like Dallas.
Yeah.
Like a team that like actually could
1-1.
just use like an additional talent.
Yeah.
Like, and they'll say, we'll deal with the problems.
And the thing, someone's going to give it a shot. Someone's going to try and bring him in, and all coaches think they can fix players.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and bring him in and rein in his offense and get him to fit within that team scheme. I have trouble believing that Memphis was just fine with him shooting the way he did. Like, they must have been trying too. So he's also 27?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard
He's
to
a younger guy.
He's younger, but it's also hard to change when you've been in the league this long playing that same way. But my other argument, and Chris, I want to hear what you think about this. I need you to talk me down or talk me up because I'm right in the middle.
I know.
Could he fit with the Kings offense? I feel like with the shooting that would be around him, he would fit better. But if he's going to do the same stuff he's always done, it's just not going to work anywhere.
Yeah, I think what you just said right there is if it's kind of a, you got to figure out where you fall on it in terms of, okay, did he shoot this much because the Memphis system allowed him to, or did he shoot this much because he in general just likes to let it fly and feels like he's a better player than what he actually is? Because the Kings offense, their current offensive system of dribble handoffs and the motion offense that they run kind of makes it so that in theory, that kind of thing doesn't happen. There's not really anybody having the ball except for De'Aaron Fox in their hands for too long. Unless he's just really pulling off of dribble handoffs, which I think is a possibility. I don't think that he would have the touches to necessarily even put it up. He took 13 shots per game, just under 14 shots a game this season.
6 or 7 threes a game.
He took 6 threes this season, knocked them down at 32. I shouldn't even say knock them down. Shot 32%.
Splashed them in.
Yeah, splashed them in at 32%. Shot 39% in total from the field this year. He's incredibly inefficient. He's shooting 41% for his career from the field, 34% from 3 in his career. It's just a guy who you really have to take the negatives or the positives with the negatives. And it's kind of like you said, like I think of like we could be that mistake, you know,
right?
We could, someone's going to make the quote unquote mistake of thinking we can be the team that fixes Dylan Brooks. And I don't think it's too far out of the question that he could be fixed. It's just, you have to figure out if you kind of have, here we go, a culture around your team that can sustain a bad apple like Dylan Brooks. And so if you feel like your culture is strong enough, and if the Kings feel like during this season they built a strong enough core or culture within their main core of guys that Dylan Brooks may be shooting too much, won't affect that, or they believe that they can, Malik Monk is a guy who kind of, you could argue, had that same sort of narrative, but would actually hit shots. I think, at times we saw Malik maybe stretch his game a little bit, but I think for the most part, Malik played within the offense for a good majority of the game. You could argue you can only have one of those guys, and having the more and more of those guys you have, the more with fire you're playing. But I don't think it's a good idea. Okay. I do not think it's a good idea. But if it does happen, which it could happen, again, like you laid it out, the Kings could use somebody of his profile. If it does happen, I'm not going to say it's a bad signing. Like, I think it's a good move for anybody who does it. It's just, you have to be confident that if it doesn't work out, you have to be confident that your team is going to be good enough to overcome it, because if it doesn't, that's going to be the prevailing narrative from the season is, oh, look at, they signed Dillon Brooks, they took a big swing, they missed, and it completely ruined everything that they built this past season. I don't know if they're willing to take the risk. I'd be willing to hear them out to take the risk. I just think and when push comes to shove, it's kind of like, I think you can get a Torrey Craig or whatever, somebody else who is, might not be as talented as Dillon Brooks, but you don't have to deal with the headaches that come with him. And it's just kind of like, I really just needed somebody who can do this thing for me. And if you can do it, that's all I really care about. I don't need all the other stuff. The shooting, the offense is all just kind of icing on the cake. The Kings really, the main focus and the main reason why they would need Dillon Brooks is for the defense. So if they can find a wing or perimeter defender, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. If anything else they bring to the table is kind of a bonus, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're talking Kings here on Sacktown Sports, how they can improve this offseason, whether it's trades, free agents, internally, externally. We got David on the phone, wants to talk Mike Brown. David, what's up, man?
Hey, first of all, I'll pass on Dillon Brooks.
Yes.
No.
All right. Fair enough. Very fair.
but second of all, I think Brown kind of put himself in a box last year a little bit when he had those players sign those contracts about their roles on the team. And the reason I say that is because in the playoffs, if you look, a lot of coaches in this series or all these series that we've been watching aren't afraid to bench somebody or start somebody else because of matchup. Mike Brown refused to do that. And the other thing that he didn't do that I've noticed through the year, and I think he's a great coach, don't get me wrong, but he likes to cater to his starters too much. There was times in the year when TD was tearing it up or Lyles was tearing it up. They were just lighting it up, and he'd just take them out of the game and cater to the starters. He's got to stop doing that. He's got to roll with the hot hand. And if it's hot, keep it. Don't just go back and go, well, we want to give her minutes. Now, there was times that he definitely benched Keegan and Herter for stretches, but when Sabonis was kind of not playing as well or somebody else, I noticed that he would kind of still demur to his starters a lot. If you look, his bench minutes are consistent. Now, the reason I bring that up is because that might be hard to bring in a good top tier guy. Like the guy I think would be perfect for the team, but he's going to want more minutes would be Mo Bamba, right? A guy that's a stretch 5, he could probably play some spot 4, block shots, gets rebounds, hits threes. He's perfect. And he probably isn't a 30, 40-minute a game guy, so I could see him wanting to come. But if he's like, I'm going to get 10 minutes a game, why am I going to go there? So you're going to have a hard time getting somebody in that's a backup that if they watch the Kings closely going, man, this guy doesn't really give a lot of play to his bench, too much.
Yeah, thanks, David. My only thing with Mo Bamba is that's a secondary option. And also you'd probably run into the same problems that you had during the postseason this last year. Like, he's not going to come in and be a great second option behind Domantas Sabonis. I'm interested in him in the same way that I'm interested in like Jackson Hayes, where you're giving a guy a shot, you're buying low on a high talent player. But as far as him being the guy,
that's not the answer.
That's not the answer.
That's like something that you could, that's a nice like third center.
Yeah.
Like maybe it can work out for you. Maybe for some reason it works out for your system. But I hear your point about Mike Brown playing the starters too much. I mean, literally the 5-man road lineup of Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis played 800 total minutes this season, which was, I think, 200 or 300 minutes more than the second highest used lineup. So he definitely leaned on that lineup a lot this year, but I think that was to kind of get to the point where they had a certain level of familiarity as a group. And I think it's a big reason why they found the regular season success that they did was because those guys had so much continuity playing throughout the season together. But, I disagree with the Mike Brown, the all-in contract ending up being the thing that did them in. I think, if anything, that contract was meant to symbolize that you can get pulled at any moment, and you're just going to have to be okay with it because it's about team success and not about
cliche, if you ask me.
It's a little cliche, all in, saying, "Hey guys, we're going to be all in as a group." It's a cliche, but
I can't argue with the results though. I mean, you can't really argue with anything Mike Brown. I mean, there's things you can argue, but like something like that wouldn't have a negative effect.
And it allowed Mike Brown to, like I said earlier, like he was searching all year for the backup center, and that's part of everyone being all in is like it might be your time for 20 or 30 games, but also if I feel like you're not performing, you're going to get the hook and you're going to get Rashawn Holmes treatment, and we're just not going to see you the rest of the year. Like it's
and that was the problem.
What they signed up
in
for.
the playoffs too is, where else could you have gone? You didn't have another option.
See, so that's the thing as well, right?
Like it wasn't as if there was the great option. He tried Alex Len, he tried Trey Lyles.
He did.
Just wasn't.
I said during the first 2 or 3 games of the series when Keegan Murray was really struggling, I was like, Keegan shouldn't be playing right now. But the problem was, who were you going to go to? You couldn't. Trey Lyles had only had a good game 1, and besides that, he was as checkered as anybody else. And then you saw what Keegan was able to do. But your point is completely correct in saying like the Kings just didn't have much versatility, and so they had to lean on the guys that they trusted, and it resulted in pretty positive things, I think, throughout the season.
And I like you brought up Keegan Murray, because to me, Mike Brown did the right thing with a young player like him, and I'm way more impressed with Keegan Murray starting off poorly and bouncing back than a rookie who comes in and plays well the entire time, because he had to go fight some adversity.
Right.
He
had to find it.
Yes. I agree with you. Like he probably should have been, benched at a certain point because he was bad the first, 3 games? Like really bad.
It was really bad the first 3 games. The 4th game, game 3 was the Harrison Barnes shot, right?
Game 4 was the Barnes shot.
Okay, so he got things going at the end of game 3 when it was the blowout and they just kind of put all the reserves out there. That's when he first started to see a couple shots go in. And then game 4 was the game where he, I believe, had 23 points. And from there, and then in game 7 as well, I said it a couple different times. There was a stretch in that third quarter where nobody, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, I mean, Malik Monk, I mean, Domantas Sabonis, none of the Kings could get a single bucket. Except for Keegan Murray, who was putting the ball on the floor, taking floaters, taking mid-range jump shots. Like what we saw, like what you said right there is perfect. I would much rather see him well, I guess I shouldn't much rather see him, but it was
more impressive.
It was good. Exactly. More impressive. It was good to see him find that adversity, have to deal with that adversity in very much real time, and then come out on the other side and really be incredibly impressive. Like coming out of the series being like, I think he was one of the 2 or 3 biggest bright spots for Sacramento in that series. So I'm incredibly impressed with how Keegan played throughout the year, because you could also extrapolate that same thing I just said throughout the entire season, where he had real ups, but also went through real lulls, and then had a pretty productive regular season for the most part.
He also was, second, third best player on the through 4 through 7 on the Kings. Sabonis struggled
in general, or for the playoffs.
For the playoffs, yeah. I
think Davion Mitchell was probably their second. I think De'Aaron was number 1.
Yeah,
I would say Davion was probably the second most important, and I would put Keegan either 3rd or 4th with Monk.
But with Herter, like here's the thing. Also, why it's so impressive is that he bounced back after playing poorly, and for a young player like that. Like Kevin Herter's going to have to wait until next playoffs to bounce back.
Yeah.
No one, I mean, look, you're going to care what he does in the regular season. You want him to play well in the regular season.
That's not where his questions lie.
No, the question lies in the postseason. And Keegan Murray doesn't have that question right now, which, again, doesn't mean he's going to be awesome next playoffs, but it's just not something we're going to be talking about. It's not something he's going to be asked.
And it won't be in his head either, right?
Exactly.
Like that's going to be in Kevin Herter's head. Even though Kevin Herter's a veteran, you saw with Harrison Barnes, like sometimes those old demons, they come back a barking and they're loud. And Kevin's going to hear that next season as well internally. He's going to be thinking about his past postseason performances.
When the lights get bright, Chris.
The lights get bright, dude. That's when the stars shine the brightest. And sometimes the stars fade.
Dude,
sometimes lights are too bright.
Yeah, that's good, man. Should write that down. Yeah. Gonna keep talking Kings. I have more King stuff this offseason I have to keep talking about. It's hard to fit all this in. I want to hear from you guys too. Let me know what you think the Kings need to improve on this offseason, how they can do it. 1-800-920-1140. 916-339-1140 on the text line here on Sacktown Sports.
The King season might be over, but Sacktown Sports coverage never stops.
Returning is honestly my number one priority. Be a part of something special.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a DeWalt cordless impact driver for just $99. Was $159. That's a savings of $60. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See associate for details. Valid through 8/2. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities.
Hey kids, Carmichael Dave here. Memorial Day, it's really the year's first big outdoor party. Friends, family, fun, and food. Man, Amy's Outdoor Living has food options for you. Maybe even change it up a bit with a new Uni pizza oven. Think about it. Dogs, burgers, and pizza. You're a hero, 100%. Right now at Amy's, save 20% on a new Uni Caru pizza oven at just $239. $239 for a pizza oven. You ready to barbecue? The Traeger Timberline 850, that's the one I have, and the 1300 Geb one are reduced by $600 for Memorial Day. Amy's also has a great selection of umbrellas in stock, perfect for shade in this warm weather. Need patio furniture? From now to Memorial Day, Amy's will pay the sales tax on all in-stock patio furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Amy's Outdoor Living, El Camino near Watt, and inside Amy Ace Hardware in the El Dorado Town Center.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Sacktown Sports, Charles T. Hamilton, Chris Watkins, Kyle Ledbetter, Dua Lipa. Chris, you're my young guy, dude. Like, Chris is my young guy. He said he doesn't even know what Dua Lipa looks like.
I don't think I've ever seen. I know what Dua Lipa looks like, but I don't think I've ever been like if you were to be like, oh, this is Dua Lipa at the Met Gala, I would be like, oh.
Hey, Chris, what's she look like?
She looks like a wonderful young lady.
That's right.
Who is incredibly musically talented.
She's a great talent.
I'm the young person here on the show now. Chris isn't the young guy anymore.
That's how long you've been gone. Man. I'm no longer the young guy.
I'm born after 2000 over here.
Oh my God, Kyle, leave.
I've been getting that a lot every time I say that.
Here. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do.
Dua Lipa.
Keep your mic. You're done. Wow. You're done for today, Kyle. We've been talking about the Kings, off-season moves, Dylan Brooks. It is 11:24 on the 20th, and as of right now, I'd sign him.
Dylan Brooks?
Yeah.
It's 11:24 on Saturday, May 20th, and I'm so good.
We will see how I feel after we talk to our guy, TC, calling in. He wants to talk TC? Dylan Brooks and the Kings. What's up, TC?
Yo, Chris, man. What's up with my boys today, man?
What up, TC? How you doing? I'm good.
I'm all right, just chilling. I mean, look, we've been on this for a while. The whole Dylan Brooks. We've been talking about it for like the last week, maybe last 2 weeks. I'm with signing Dylan Brooks. I believe we got the best coaches
Okay.
TC, sorry, I don't know what's going on. Some feedback.
That's what happens when you say you want Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, seriously.
You just cut out.
I'm kind of with him at 11.25. I get it. I mean, it also depends on what it would cost. And here's another thing that you have to bring up. Like, the Kings have a great locker room right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dylan Brooks could also come in and be
devil's advocate would say he could ruin it.
He could ruin it. He could also be a perfect addition. Like when the Wolves had Patrick Beverley, they needed a guy like that. And I do think the Kings could. I think every team needs a little crazy.
Yeah,
a little dog,
wild card,
whatever, wild card. Yeah, and Dylan Brooks could be that, but it is a fair question. I don't have that question with Grant Williams. Like, if you bring in Grant Williams, he'll be the tough guy. I'm not concerned about him messing with the locker room. I do have that concern with Dylan Brooks.
While we're talking about it, let's go full third rail here.
Hit it.
Draymond Green. Would you rather have first off, who do you think would basketball wise make more sense for Sacramento, Draymond or Dylan Brooks? Because to me, I view on the floor fit of what Draymond Green brings a lot more valuable than what Dylan Brooks potentially brings. With that said, there's the whole off the court for both of, or not even necessarily off of the court, but just
on the practice court.
Yeah, it could be on the practice court. It could be stomped on. It could be because he would definitely have to deal with that issue as well.
True.
But I just bring him up more since we're talking third rail people. Dylan Brooks is definitely in that, or Draymond Green is definitely in that same conversation for me as Dylan Brooks, where it's like he definitely brings a lot to the table. We talk about dribble handoff stuff. We talk about a team that's terrible defensively. Well, how about probably the best defender of this generation?
No question.
How about a guy who has spent years with Mike Brown? How about a guy who Mike Brown last season? I keep bringing this up. Mike Brown was adamant about how he needed Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox to be more vocal on the floor because we see we see all of these coaches, Nick Nurse, Coach Budenholzer, all these guys getting fired because their voice gets stale because they're routinely yelling the same thing over and over at their players. It needs to come from someone else. Do you think Draymond Green has any issue letting teammates know what should and shouldn't be done, what is and isn't right on the basketball floor? To me, it just makes there's a lot more sense that I can draw for adding Draymond Green than Dylan Brooks. That's ignoring the age factor. That's ignoring the price value of each of those two guys. But I just think on the floor, I would much rather have Draymond than Dylan Brooks.
So, absolutely. I mean, that's no question. Because he's another guy who elevates the entire defense. Dylan Brooks is an individual defender.
Yes. It's great.
Draymond is a bad shooter. We all know it. But
he also knows it.
He knows it. Exactly. He not only does he know it, he knows how to make an impact offensively while being a bad shooter. Right. Dylan Brooks does not rebound, does not screen, does not pass.
Right.
He's a bad shooter who shoots a lot. So, yes. I mean, we're also talking about a Hall of Famer and Dylan Brooks.
Guy who's lowest in
for sure. I do think that he'll probably end up back with the Warriors, but he does have a player option. It's not out of the question that he's a free agent.
Right.
It would cost a lot to get him, which means you're giving up Harrison Barnes,
right?
Because that's how you're going to clear the cap space to get him. But I agree with you, man. He's a perfect fit. The only problem is he's a non-shooter on a team where in today's NBA, it's hard to play two non-shooters.
Right.
Like him and Kevon Looney playing together, it works, but we
saw that they
deficiencies because it's two non-shooters. Domantas Sabonis is not a shooter
Yeah.
either. So that's where the difficulty would lie, but you're getting that defensive bump. And you brought up his relationship with Mike Brown.
To me, that's the biggest part of it.
I mean, and it's not just, they worked, like they're close. They are very
they're
close.
Thick as thieves, from what I understand.
And that's great because I honestly hadn't even put that together that you know, he could be an option in Sacramento. It would cost a lot because he wants to get paid.
This is his last opportunity. And then how will that go with a 35-year-old whose athleticism is declining year by year?
3 for
20 probably if I had to get. Yeah, I'm sorry, 320 each year.
Yeah, to get him away from the Warriors, I do think it would cost a lot.
It would cost a lot,
and
I
the
think
Warriors
probably
would have
too
to
much.
say I'm not paying that. Yeah. But
if Bob Myers leaves, Draymond said, if Bob leaves, then he's
the
probably
Bob
gone
Myers
too.
part is the biggest part. If he leaves, I have no idea what's going to happen with the Warriors. If he sticks
Yeah.
around, I think pretty much everyone.
I think the
sticks around
core is
for at
staying
least
together.
one more
But
year.
yeah, I kind of see, and I said this during the week, if Bob isn't there, kind of to me feels like they should. I could see, though. Mike Dunleavy's probably going to be the guy that would step in if Bob Myers is out, and he's been in the Warrior system for a long time. But if they bring in a fresh new guy, I could see him looking at the situation and being like, okay, why are we going to pay Draymond Green, a 35-year-old declining asset, for $27 million and going to extend him? Why are we paying Klay Thompson, who at this point in his career is just kind of a shooter and not really much else? Why are we paying him $40 million a year? Don't even get me started on Jordan Poole. I just think that if you look at the Warriors situation without Bob Myers looking at it, I could see that team pretty much being blown up with the exception of Steph Curry, and at least moving forward, maybe it doesn't all happen in one offseason, but I think the writing's kind of on the wall at that point if Bob isn't coming back. And it feels like at 11:30 on May 20th that it's kind of a 50-50 proposal. It's like a true 50-50 split on whether Bob Myers will be back or not.
It is. And the other thing, it could be up to Draymond. He's got a player option. He could say, I'm opting out and I'm leaving.
Yeah. And
he would be a great fit with the Kings.
I think it would be what do you think about that, just that specific decision that Draymond's got to make? Because here's the dilemma with it. It's a $27 million player option that he can opt into. Draymond Green will never in the rest of his career be paid $27 million for a single season. Opting into that for that reason makes sense to me. However, the counter to that is he's probably, if he continues to decline at the rate that he is, he's not going to be able to next season, after that $27 million season, be able to get that 3-year, $60 million contract we're talking about. It might end up being, if you're paying for a 36-year-old Draymond Green through age 39 or whatever he is, he's somewhere near that age. If you're paying for an older, declining Draymond Green, you're probably not going to be paying anywhere near $20 million a season for it.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, he's definitely opting out and then signing his last long-term deal, because it's just, you get the money, man. Get the bag.
You got
He's 33 years
secure
old.
it. I think it's the same situation. You can put that same situation Harrison Barnes is in right now, where it's like he doesn't have the player option, but it's like he can either return to Sacramento for a discount, or Harrison Barnes is 30 years old. This is his last opportunity to go get that 4-year, $80 million contract. Like, no one else is going to pay Harrison Barnes that much money after that.
And he's had his struggles, but he's still a valuable player in the NBA.
Right.
He's a 6'8" wing who can play 3-4, defend, shoot a little bit. Like, he's going to get
a little
paid.
bit of everything.
A little bit of everything for our guy, HB. The Draymond stuff is interesting. That'd be the big swing.
Yeah.
That'd be on the level of Brooke Lopez, of Chris Middleton, which whatever. Again, you're replacing Harrison Barnes with him. How much of an upgrade is that for the price? I don't know. I don't really want to get too much into Chris Middleton, for one, because I don't think that's happening. For two,
I don't think that can happen.
Really like it for the Kings.
I don't think it's like it just doesn't move the needle. It doesn't
Not
make you
for me.
a finals contender.
It doesn't make it move. DeAnthony Melton is a guy who I like a lot.
Sure.
But one of the things that he doesn't have that Dylan Brooks has is he's another guard. He's another,
like, he's a guard.
He's a guard. He's about 6'3". You
Yeah.
can put him on some wings, but he's like he can guard like 1 through 2.5, which the Kings kind of already have.
Yeah.
I do like him a lot. I do think he's a good fit. He doesn't give you the problems offensively that Dylan Brooks has.
Right.
He's a legitimate 3-and-D guard.
Yeah.
You could play him 82 games. You can play him 16 games in the playoffs.
Right.
Like, he's a plug and play immediately.
Yeah.
But again, one of the problems is he's just at a position where they have
a lot of guys,
a lot of depth.
Yeah. I don't know if the minutes are there.
Yeah.
Unless they decide to kind of adjust guys over. And, if they don't bring back Harrison Barnes, that's going to kind of have to be the option, because I don't think that they can really sign enough wings. But to me, I think the focus, if not on backup big, should be on trying to fill in as many perimeter wings as possible. I think that's something the Kings, just as in general in franchise and Sacramento franchise history, the Kings have never really had multiple 6'8", 6'9" guys who are versatile and can do different things, put the ball on the floor, can shoot. They really, Rudy Gay funny enough, is probably the second best Sacramento Kings small forward that we've had. You know, maybe you can say Harrison, but obviously behind Peja, like the Kings
Shout out Rudy Gay.
Yeah, shout out Rudy Gay. Absolutely. Put in a great shift for a couple of years here. You know, I think the Kings need to focus on kind of getting those wing guys, because kind of like what you mentioned with Davion Mitchell, he can really only guard ones and twos, and it's really mainly ones. I've been saying this for, you know, since the playoff series happened. Davion Mitchell's value shined most in that Warrior series because he had to guard Steph Curry.
It's matchup specific because there aren't not every team runs through their point guard.
Right.
He can't come in and guard Paul George every single.
Right.
So, you know, John Morant, Steph Curry, Devin Booker a little bit, even though he's
that's a stretch. Yeah.
Where it's got to be one of these smaller guards who has the ball in their hand all the time, or you're chasing through screens like Steph. But it's just it's matchup specific.
Right. They need somebody like a McDaniels or like a Jared Vanderbilt was a name that was thrown around plenty around the trade deadline. They need those kind of guys who are just really long bodies that they can kind of, you know, make them interchangeable, and it's really just about positional versatility. We mentioned it earlier. The Kings really didn't have many different options to go to, many different looks to give teams, and come playoff time, that's what ends up winning series, is just, you know, you make one right adjustment, you throw one guy in there that kind of shifts everything that the other team has to do, and it can really, really change the entire momentum of a series. So, in my opinion, those are the kind of guys the Kings need to go after, just as many versatile wings as possible.
One thing I want to bring up with the DeAnthony Melton example is when it comes to Rashawn Holmes, I think the best, because he's been brought up a lot as trading his salary.
Right.
His value is really low right now. I still
have
think
no
he's
idea.
got some game. But
I don't know what his
DeAnthony
value
Melton
even is.
last year was the Sixers traded for him. They sent Danny Green and I think either the 23rd or 24th pick in the draft for DeAnthony Melton.
Funny enough.
To Memphis. Exactly. Kings are picking 24. So I think the best they can do with the Rashawn Holmes thing is attach him to that first rounder probably, or another asset, and get something back. But Rashawn Holmes by himself, I just don't think you're really going to be getting anything for him.
I don't think so. Not at this point. Like, maybe at the deadline was your last time to strike on that. I think his value as a starting center is all but gone. I don't think anybody is going to trade him thinking we need to give up something that is starter quality. I think at this point, kind of like what you said, I think Rashawn's at the point now with his contract where he's reached that you have to attach a first round pick with him in order to essentially just ship him off.
Yeah. So we're talking about the ways the Kings can improve this offseason. One of those ways is the draft. We had the draft lottery and the draft combine just happened. Two of my favorite events of each year. We're going to talk about those next here on Sacktown Sports.
The King season might be over, but Sacktown Sports coverage never stops.
We, as a team, have a ways to go. This is something that you want to be able to build off of.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I want to talk to you about my friends at American Energy. We can all agree on one thing. Your time is important. That's why at American Energy Heat and Air, they make shopping for a new air conditioner easier with their new online quoting tool. Now, all you have to do, go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote today. It'll help you determine what system you'll need to get and provide those great pricing options they have, the best pricing options, all from the comforts of your home without having somebody coming to your house. Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your specific needs are, call 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990. AmericanEnergyAir.com. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Get ready for a night of thrilling punches and knockouts. Saturday, May 27th, Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville is hosting a live professional boxing event. Watch Segundo Padilla from San Jose face off against Ronald Ron from Los Angeles. We'll also have other exciting bouts lined up for an unforgettable night of thrilling matches that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Get your tickets now at goldcountrycasino.com.
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Listen to Oakland A's baseball on the weekends all season long right here on Sacktown Sports, beginning with the pregame show brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports. Charles T. Hamilton, my man Chris Watkins. Yes, sir. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass, running the show for us. Taking you up to 12:30. Little A's baseball. I'm just not.
Are you an A's fan?
Yeah, I am, and we're not going to touch it.
Okay.
We're just not.
I
We're
thought
going
you
to act
were.
like the season hasn't even started.
For sure.
Playing the Astros today.
Oof, I'm sure that'll go well.
A lot of trying to make like a Stomp the musical joke, you know, because they bang
'Cause they
trash
have-
cans.
oh,
and
I thought
cheat,
'cause of
cheaters.
Stomper.
Stomper's chill too. Yeah. But Astros are cheaters. Anyway.
Astros mascot is Orbit.
It's a good mascot.
Like it's a physical thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it.
It's some like green monster or something.
It's similar to the Orlando Magic mascot.
I have seen it. Yeah,
He does
yeah,
funny
yeah.
stuff. I think he comes out on the ATV.
Yeah. I've seen this thing.
Gives me a giggle.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
Little Philly fanatic vibes.
Yeah.
Little what's
Gritty.
that? What's gritty? Yeah. That
Stuff
what
the
team
Magic
is
Dragon.
that for? Gritty
Hockey team.
I know it's a hockey team. Kyle, do you know?
I do know, but I want to see you guys guess.
I can't even name like three
The
hockey
Red
names.
Wings. No, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Charles
That's
got it. Yeah.
Really?
I thought it was a Philly.
I knew it was orange.
Yeah.
I knew he was.
Well, no,
he
I-
had an orange jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's green though, right?
He's
Gritty? No, Gritty's
orange as well.
Oh, okay.
Because the Flyers are orange.
I think you might be thinking of the Green Monster.
I'm thinking a Green Man. How does Philly not have a Green Man mascot? I mean,
They've got the Philly Fanatic.
but I'm talking Green Man from Always Sunny. You guys don't, I'm talking straight up Charlie
Just a
Day
dude
in a green
in a
leotard.
green suit.
That's it. Straight up. How have they not capitalized on that? Yeah.
I forgot about that episode. Oh, I might have to go on and Always Sunny's one of those shows.
Yeah, I
that
go on a
just
kick
like,
sometimes.
I just
man.
hop on it
Yeah.
and it's just like riding a bike. Truly,
Dude,
just like riding a
seriously.
bike.
They don't need the plug, but I think the new season
Yeah.
starts next month or something. So,
God,
check it out.
great show.
Yeah, great show.
Just like one of the best.
One of the best. Well, no transition, but the draft.
It's always
lottery
sunny in San Antonio.
in San Antonio, the Riverwalk.
I hear it's beautiful.
I hear it's gorgeous,
I
man.
hear it's a wonderful
Good old
walk. They got the
Texas.
Alamo.
Yeah. Don't never forget.
Can't tell you a single
I
thing about
know.
Got the Alamo Dome.
Yep.
it. Yeah, there you go.
They.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, all I know is that the Spurs are there.
Yeah, that's literally. I know the Riverwalk. I know it exists. I
know it's a
I
thing.
hear all. That's like their thing.
It's the only
That's
thing
the
that ever gets
only
mentioned.
thing that they ever say
The Riverwalk.
is the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Maybe we should go hit it
I
up.
guess so.
I'm down.
They've got
do a
Patty
remote.
Mills.
Yeah.
Do they still?
No, I just meant the Spurs.
Oh.
That's the other thing the city's known for.
Well, they're gonna be getting
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama because the draft lottery happened Wednesday last week. I don't know.
Yeah.
It happened
Earlier this week.
and the Spurs won the lottery.
Yeah.
And some people would say that they like actually won the lottery
Yeah.
because they're going to be able to get Victor Wembanyama, who we've seen so many players come in and not reach their potential.
Right.
Not that I think Wemby's going to be a bust or
Mhm.
anything. I just think it's gone too far.
Right.
Where none of this is guaranteed. He's obviously the first first overall pick,
Right.
and you are stoked because you think he can change your entire franchise, all that great stuff. But Woj coming on and saying he's the best prospect in all of sports ever.
Team sports. Yep.
Team
ever.
sports. And by year 3, he's going to be one of the best offensive and defensive players in the game. I was just like, shut up, dude. Like, man, I know you guys are filling a half-hour draft lottery show, but like,
right.
He's 19. I hope he does reach all these things because it'd be sad to come back and not have it, and it's just such a waste of time.
Right.
But I've just seen so many guys not reach their potential, not be good players. And again, I'm not saying that I think he's going to be bad, but like, who's the last player that had these expectations and met him? It was LeBron, and LeBron's arguably, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. If he's not the greatest of all time, then he's number 2. And we're just throwing these expectations at Wemby. I think he's going to be awesome, but it went a little too far for me. But anyways, as far as the draft lottery was concerned, I know some people are upset that the Spurs actually won.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I'm so thrilled. I'm so
ecstatic
happy
because when it got down to the final 4 of the draft lottery, and for those who don't watch it or don't know, it's
first off, good for you.
Good for you. Yeah. Congrats on having a life.
Yeah, what's that like?
Dude. It's ping pong balls, lottery balls, as far as, who's going to win. And the bottom 3 teams in the NBA have a 14% chance. And I would have been down to see him go to Detroit, but Detroit was the team that got knocked out of the top 3. They're picking at 5. So it was Portland, Charlotte, Houston, and San Antonio. So Portland Trailblazers, Charlotte Hornets, Houston Rockets, and San Antonio Spurs. Out of those 4, I wanted him to go to San Antonio because I actually think
that's the best basketball situation. I think like that for his like actual growth and development and my confidence meter in him actually panning out to be the prospect that they talk about. Absolutely. I think San Antonio was the best spot for him.
Those other 3 teams don't deserve it, in my opinion, either. Portland has proven they can't build around a superstar.
Shout out Dame.
Shout out Dame. What's up? Oakland zone.
Yeah. Dollar.
Dame, request a trade. Stop trying to.
Yeah. Just
stop. No one cares.
Pride's a thing, man.
I just think
pride is a mug.
Giving him all this credit for being willing to stay on bad teams, I like right on. But at a certain point, man, they've proven that they can't build around.
It's good for you if you leave.
It's fine if you want to go somewhere where you think they can actually do the job.
Right. That's okay.
Houston, no. I mean,
why? What confidence they
Charlotte,
just hired Ime, but like, what's the confidence that
Charlotte?
That
same thing. I just have no confidence in any of these teams developing him into the player that people think he's going to be. San Antonio, I love it.
San Antonio also has nobody else that you can argue in Houston, maybe Jalen Green's development gets in the way of Wemby, maybe LaMelo's development, maybe, Dame shooting, trying to be a playoff team ruins Wemby's development. But in San Antonio, they don't have anything else that they're really relying on. Like, this was what they were hoping for. And for them to get him, and they can really nurture everything, the entire organization around him. Obviously, they have the history of success with it as well. It's a really good situation for him to just kind of be stumbling into, for sure.
Yeah, it's where I wanted him to go. I'm glad he's there. People hating on it. Whatever. Sorry, your team didn't get him.
Yeah.
Your team probably wasn't even in the lottery, so you couldn't get him.
It's
fine.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that he's going to stay in the West for Kings fans' perspectives, which is
fair.
Pretty unfortunate. But at that point, with like you just laid out, the 4 options, 3 of them were in the West, and I was really adamant that I did not want to see him go to Charlotte because, again, I just didn't think that it was nothing about Charlotte the past. I don't know. My entire lifetime has made me feel like that they can really provide anybody with any sort of development. It's really just been Chris Paul.
Look, we all love Michael Jordan, one of the greatest to ever play the game. Top 2, one or two. But he's a terrible owner. He's a terrible owner, and hasn't been able to build.
I think he's selling the team as well, right?
In
the process of it, which also leads.
There was
to,
a thought too, though, if they got Wemby, that maybe he would think about it. But if they got Wemby, I would want him to sell even more.
Yeah.
He's gotten a pass because he's Michael Jordan. He's a terrible owner.
Right.
Like, it's one of the things that bugs me, and now we're taking a left turn here. But like,
fine.
Joe Lacob has said some dumb stuff before. He's boisterous and talks. But because exactly. And because of some dumb things he said, people act like he's some bumbling, terrible owner. Or is he the best owner of our generation?
Right.
Like,
he's paying a lot of money right now.
He's doing everything to win, but because he'll say something dumb in an interview, they act like he's Mark Cuban.
Right.
And we don't act like Mark Cuban is Mark Cuban. We act like Mark Cuban's a great owner.
Right.
What has he built besides Dirk?
Right.
Like, you know, he's got Kyrie now. Like, come on. What are we doing?
And lawsuits.
Couple lawsuits.
I don't know if I'm there yet, but you can kind of make the same argument for Vivek Ranadive, where Vivek is, if you want to talk about saying some dumb things, let's talk about 4-on-5 basketball.
Yeah, that was rough, man. That was rough.
He was early on positionless basketball. Vivek was the first person I ever heard use the term positionless basketball. And now you want to talk about cliches, you want to talk about things that people just throw around there. Positionless basketball is something that's thrown around all the time.
You're young.
Yeah. Sure. I think that, you know, Vivek has a little bit of claim, especially with how things are trending now.
Totally.
And, you know, we'll see how he lands the plane on this, but we'll
things are going good now.
It's going well now. I think you can maybe argue that Vivek did some dumb things, but maybe he's a good owner too. I think.
Yeah, no,
I think in terms of like ownership, like if we're just talking a guy who has done the arena's beautiful.
Yeah.
Never heard the Kings have gone cheap on, you know, we're not hearing like the Arizona Cardinals where the players have to pay for meals or anything like. Seems like they're a good organization. So yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
You talked about the arena. As far as I know, until things go bad, but this is all owners. When things are going bad, they interject. But for the most part, he lets people do their job. Right now, he is.
It's been a big talking point.
But right now, he is, and they're having success.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm with you. But yeah, some owners put their foot in their mouth, and we focus on that more so than their actual success. But anyways, back to Wemby and the draft lottery and the draft combine and the draft. It's one of my favorite things all year because hope reigns eternal, man.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe that guy you get at 24 is the next superstar.
It's the next one, right? Everybody hopes.
Do you have any guys in this upcoming draft that you kind of have an eye on? Or like, I have players that I always like, and for some reason, I feel like vindicated when they're good.
Yes. Oh, yeah, always. I was a huge Franz Wagner guy.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one, man.
That's going to be the one.
Big Trey Murphy guy.
Oh, really?
In New Orleans.
Well, that's panned out pretty well for you.
It has.
Yeah. I've been a big fan, especially with his performance in said draft combine. Amari Bailey this year, point guard from UCLA. He's good scrimmages, and he seems to be a bigger guard. I like his here you go. I like his compete. I really do. I truly like the how he competes.
He's like got like an animal inside. I can't put my finger
some
on
form
what
of
kind.
animal.
But it's like an aggressive one.
Yeah,
it's grit. It's got some grit. Yeah, man.
I like he's got that giraffe in him.
No, that's
Wemby.
Sure. Wemby's got the giraffe in him for real. No, but I mean, with Amari Bailey, that's another one where he's a guard. From the Kings' perspective, at least. I do think he's a good player.
I've heard his teammate as well, Johnny Juzang, is a name that I've heard floated around the 24 mark. Chris Murray is a name that's been thrown about.
I mean, yes, he's in that draft range at 24, but is it just really because he's Keegan's twin brother?
Yes.
Right? 100%.
Yes. No, I mean, I think you can even argue from the basketball perspective, like, why would you double? He's not Keegan Murray, but I mean, he
didn't shoot as well as
Keegan. I don't know why
he
wouldn't. He does a lot of. He's more of a jack of all guy as opposed to Keegan, who is kind of a master of one. He can do it all. He can definitely do a little bit of everything. He provides a good frame on him for sure. And you know, I think that they could use. I talked about them needing wings. They could use his size, but. I just think that for a prospect, you should probably look for somebody that fills an immediate hole that you have, as opposed to taking Chris Murray just because he's Keegan's brother.
Yeah, and as far as wings are concerned, they have bigger wings. I need them to look at guys kind of like the McDaniels, lanky, more athletic, where guys like Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Chris Murray as well can play some three.
Yeah.
But they're probably best suited at the four, where you can play like they played Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes together. It worked, but that's not the most athletic 3-4 combination.
Right. Yeah. So
I would like to, similar in the idea of Domantas Sabonis trying to find another option, I'd like them to find a different option of wing where it's, another guy we talked about, Amani Bates, right? I'm not super high on what the type of player he is for the Kings, but he's pretty good.
I think as a prospect, especially depending on where Imani Bates ends up falling, I think he's a great swing to take. Like that's the kind of thing that's the exact kind of pick the Warriors have made the past 3 or 4 years. Is the Warriors seem to have this real emphasis on high school prospects.
Yes.
Taking Nico Mannion, took last year Patrick Baldwin.
Shout out Nico Mannion.
Yeah, Nico Mannion, bro.
Haven't thought of him in a while.
Real ones
right
know.
there,
Come on,
man.
real ones know.
For real, playing for what is it, like the Palermo friggin'
Oh yeah.
Parmigianos or something?
He was sick in high school.
He was
sick in high school, and Imani Bates was I think as a sophomore, as a junior, was named the Gatorade High School Player of the Year. Like, this is a guy who has real credentials as a legit talent, especially as a prospect coming up. Somebody who, he's you can do your own research on Imani Bates and how things have ended up where they are. But, he's a guy who went through that transfer process that we talked about earlier, and that was messy, had some legal issues, and then on the floor as well. Like, inefficient is definitely the word to use.
Had some big games,
but also played at Eastern Michigan, after everything that ended up happening with all the colleges that he was planning to attend, ending up at Eastern Michigan
powerhouse.
Yeah, exactly. A true powerhouse like Eastern Michigan, going against the quality of opponents that Eastern Michigan goes against. And Eastern Michigan, I believe, finished the season like, Kyle, you might know, but like 6-25, or they were terrible this season. And
They're the best.
There's some questions.
Team in the eastern part of Michigan by far, though.
Probably.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
I think I can confidently probably say that they were maybe the best team in Eastern Michigan.
Don't quote.
Eastern Michigan finished last season with an 8-23 record.
Oof. So there you go. So Imani was that's the situation Imani was in last year.
Yeah.
Clearly wasn't elevating his team to anything special, but put up good numbers. I think he put up 10 and 8. But like you said, pretty inefficient numbers, but has the pedigree, has the skill. He's 6'9", 6'10". Like, this was a guy who, again, as a prospect, was kind of talked about like a Kevin Durant, or came up with Chet Holmgren as well. Like, there was battles of Chet versus Imani Bates. Like, who's gonna be this next freak guy that comes in the NBA and changes things? I think it's a good swing to take if you're willing to take the risk. I don't know if I'm willing to do it at 24, but if maybe you can get an early second round. And when you look at mock drafts, I mean, this guy we're talking in the 50s we're seeing here, but this guy's talent is something that's not in the, he's a lottery to top 10 talent for sure. It's just a matter of if he's able to have his head on straight, which I think is a very legitimate question.
It's a fair question.
I'm willing, if I'm the Sacramento Kings, I think, as long as all the off the floor stuff checks out, I'd be more than willing to take the risk on a guy like Imani Bates, a guy who realistically could be kind of like a Michael Porter Jr. in the Nuggets. That's kind of what I see for him.
Yeah, 6'9" ball handler, shooter. I mean, it's definitely worth the risk at some point. You said some other things that I found pretty interesting about drafting philosophies. And when it comes to the Kings, kind of what are you looking for when you do draft later in the first round? This is the first time they've,
it's a new territory.
So we're gonna talk that out here on Sacktown Sports.
It's Cattles and Rami.
Their second pick was already traded, and the pick that went yesterday to Orlando, that was only protected in the Vucevic trade where they sent that one to Orlando.
That is a bad
That was only
trade.
protected. You don't have to tell me that, Kyle. You don't have to rub the salt in the wound. I know that. It also cost them Wendell Carter Jr. and Franz Wagner. Man, now they are just out of the draft altogether. What does the Bulls do, man? I don't know.
Cattles and Rami, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Sacktown Sports.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know? Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day, and they're fun, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now try Babbel free. Text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Are you ready to finance your first home or your next move? Well, let Safe Credit Union's local mortgage team help you get pre-approved before you start looking for that perfect home. Jason Ross here, and now through June 30th, get a $900 lender credit when you choose Safe Credit Union for your home lending needs. And Safe's mortgage team has an excellent record of personalized service because they're all about you. You'll know exactly what to expect and feel supported during each step of the process. Apply for a Safe Home Loan today at safecu.org/get900 and let Safe put you first. Safe Credit Union is an equal housing opportunity lender.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Memorial Day is coming, and Elk Grove Kia has deals you'll never forget, like the hottest all-electric EV on the market, the luxurious EV6. Save big with lease specials of $10,000 below MSRP. Not just one or two, but every EV6 in stock. EV's not your thing? How about the sporty 2023 Soul GT line that you can lease for just $99 per month? Come look at all our exciting specials at Elk Grove Kia. Don't worry about credit. No credit, bad credit, charge-offs, repos. Don't worry. Our team has over 100 years of experience. Others say no. Elk Grove Kia says yes.
$7,500 Kia lease cash plus $2,500 dealer discount equals $10,000 total savings for EV6 all-in stock Kia finance credit approval required. Not all will qualify. $99 plus tax, 24-month lease, $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, $52.50 customer cash required, and signing residual of $17.70 to $195 subject to Kia finance through one approval. One of this payment GK 8781210-533 offer expires 5/31/23.
Turn your highway into a smileway. Elk Grove Kia.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Gibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacktown Sports.
Friday night football. Friday night is football night. Big hits, great plays, touchdown, school spirit. All of that is on display and more all around Northern California. It's time for the Friday Night Football Show. Here are your hosts, Matt George and Charles T. Hamilton.
Sacktown Sports, Charles T. Hamilton, Chris Watkins. It is not Friday Night Football. It's a joke from, 5 years ago?
Jeez.
A little played out, I will say.
2018.
Might be
2018. Gosh.
So Chris and I used to do a show called Friday Night Football with our boy, Matt George. Shout out, Matt. What's up, Matt?
Yeah. Dude's a dad now.
What's up? I know, dog. He's like, I think he just turned 17 or something.
Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the kid.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Shout out. Matt's my real young guy.
Matt,
You're not the young guy anymore. Or is he older than you?
I think he's like barely older than me.
Well, he's been
shocked me.
Shout out Matt George, but he's been about 45.
He's been 45 for about his entire life. About his entire life.
Shout out Matt.
Shout out
Matt. My guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So we were talking about Amani Bates was the last one, but we're talking about the draft because the draft lottery just happened. Draft combine also just happened, and the draft itself is about a month away. And it's one of my favorite things. It's also one of the biggest opportunities for the Kings to improve.
Right.
Because even with the Kings being a better team right now, it's still not a destination. We just have to be realistic.
Right.
Maybe it has opened themselves up to a few more potential free agents, but it's not.
No, they will not be taking meetings with LeBron James and Bronny anytime soon.
Exactly. That's funny. That's good. LeBron James and Bronny. Our team's getting meetings with them? That'd be tight.
Hey, man. Allegedly, Braun's gonna hold open court, and wherever Bronny goes, he gonna go. So, maybe the Kings can pull Larry Bird. The Celtics took Larry Bird a year before he actually came out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Kings do the same with.
Do you really
with
believe
Bronny.
Braun's gonna go where Bronny goes?
No,
I don't either.
No,
he's a Laker.
No.
Braun, he's not.
LeBron's gonna have to sit his son down and say, "Look, son, I know I said that I would go with you wherever you went."
Psych.
Ha!
Gotcha.
Have fun at OKC.
Hell no, I'm not moving to OKC. Living in West Hollywood.
Yeah, no, there's a zero. No. I think he's just trying to raise Bronny's draft
and
stock.
I think it did help, and I
Good
think
move.
Bronny, I think it's a weak draft class next year, and I do think he'll be.
Wow, you're already on a next year draft.
Yeah,
class.
man. Look, it's like I said, congrats on people having a life.
Yeah, right.
I love the draft. NFL and
I can't
NBA.
meet you there. I can't. Yeah. That's one of my least favorite things is the immediately after the draft. Here's our 2024 mock draft featuring.
Well, the mock draft is stupid, right? Like
in general.
Yeah, but also immediately after the 2023. But it's a good way to get a list of potential.
Right. Of
like
guys
if they
who
just
are
gave out a big board, that would make more sense.
That would make a lot more sense.
2024 mock draft 10 minutes after the 2023
Well,
draft.
it always pisses me off too because I'm like, well, why do they have the Kings at number 8 in this mock draft? Like we were just 25 and now we're back to no.
No, you guys will be in the 20s. Kings 20s, picking in the 20s for a long time to come.
Oh, yeah.
But you brought something up last segment when we were talking about Kings picking at 24, and you brought up how the Warriors are real high on taking high-level high school
Even
players.
Kevon Looney.
I mean, dude, Kevon Looney came out as almost he pretty much played the 3 in college, and they looked at him as like a pick and pop 4. He turned into what he is.
Right.
It took years of development. But Kevon Looney, Patrick Baldwin this last year, obviously when they were picking in the lottery, like it makes sense. Kuminga,
right, exactly.
etc.
Take the swings.
But it also makes sense at the end of the first round to take the swings on the highest level prospects where like Patrick Baldwin had a bad year. His 1 year made a weird decision to go play for his dad in Milwaukee, blah, blah, blah. We all know what happened. And they took a swing on him and we'll see what happens. But as far as the philosophy goes, it makes sense to take the swings on the high level players, high level prospects. But at the same time, when you're a team like the Warriors and now like the Kings, does it make more sense though to try and get someone that can contribute sooner, maybe immediately even like Christian Brown? They didn't have a chance to get Christian Brown last year, but he is contributing for a team in the Western Conference Finals right now. Doesn't have the same ceiling as some other players like Patrick Baldwin, whoever, but he's contributing. And it's just a difference of philosophies where I understand both. I don't know. Where do you stand with it? And where do you how do you think the Kings should play it now that they're picking, mid-20s?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the team. Like a team like the Warriors takes those high swings because it doesn't really do them much good filling in an exact role. And I don't really believe in general in taking role players. I think you should always try and just take the best player available. I think especially with the draft, like you just don't know how those guys are going to pan out in the first place. And if you're planning on a rookie being a major like if that is actually in your calculus for what your team's going to do this year, if you're planning on a draft pick that isn't a top 10 pick contributing, I just think that's not how you should approach the draft. And so I personally would always swing for those guys that maybe, like the Patrick Baldwin where, maybe he just had a bad year. The talent's there, but maybe we can bring something out of him, especially for a team like the Warriors.
It's 1 year later also. It's
1 year later.
It's
not like he's 4 years, completely, and just never panned out. Even you can make that argument with Imani Bates, who is now, I think, 2 or 3 years removed from high school. So there's that argument there. But for the Kings, I don't know if they're necessarily at that point, because I do agree with you that it's not even necessarily that they should take somebody who fits a role for them, but I think drafting a more ready now guy is the better move because of like you mentioned at the top, like they're not a free agency destination. And so if you can get a guy like a Johnny Juzang or someone, I'm sorry, Johnny Juzang was last year, like a Jaime Jaquez, if you can get somebody who might be more ready, you saw Keegan Murray this year, that was their same mindset of last year. And I think even with Davion Mitchell the year before that, Monty McNair seems to have a liking for guys that he feels like are ready to go right now. Yeah. And I think if you look at the Kings timeline, I think that tracks as well, that they're just looking for guys who might be a little older, but can contribute now. And Monty seems to like the known as opposed to what's unknown.
Also, I mean, you made a great point too. Christian Braun is rare. Like, not that he's a star, but getting a rookie to contribute on a high level team is very rare, because we look at guys like, that go in the lottery, top 10, top 5, and we see them playing well on their teams that are terrible. And it's like, oh, if he was on the Warriors or the Kings or something. No, that's not really how it goes, man, because they're getting the opportunities to play on a bad team. If Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, we saw it in Detroit, they would have the opportunity to put up numbers, but they don't fit with great teams yet. And so later in the draft, you might find a lower ceiling role player that could potentially contribute immediately, but that's also not a guarantee. I mean, there are guys. That's
my thing, is like, it's kind of a crapshoot.
You might as well take the big swing.
Exactly.
If it's there.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. There are 2 players coming out of Duke who were, I think one of them was the top high school player last year, and another one was top 5, Dariq Whitehead and Derek Lively the second.
The second, yes.
And Derek Lively's interesting because he's a center. He's probably the best rim protector in coming out of the draft right now. And I know when people hear that, they think Walker Kessler. Again, there's only one Walker Kessler.
Yes, right. He's not going to come in the league averaging 2.5 blocks a game.
We see something that happens like that, and we think it's going to happen again. Like, we have to be realistic about. Like, I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, yeah, he doesn't shoot, but Kawhi Leonard, developed his jump shot."
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like one of the greatest development stories of all time? Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that is true. And
Great
so
point.
You're right. Yeah, totally.
But Derek Lively is going to be in that range for the Kings, where he could be there at 24. Dariq Whitehead, same thing. He was the top high school player, I believe, similar to the Patrick Baldwin thing last year. He had a bad year. He shot it pretty well. Has solid measurements at the combine as well. He's 6'7", 215, about 6'11" wingspan. So he fits that mold physically. Obviously, there are, no one comes in as a great defender as a rookie, especially as a 19-year-old. But that's another option for the Kings, the Warriors, for teams picking in that range who have that same philosophy of drafting the high-level prospects. Like, there's going to be a few of them there this year. And also, back to Derek Lively, there's a chance he could contribute this year.
Absolutely.
You're not
I hear he's rising up draft boards
25 minutes a game, but can he give you 10 minutes of rim protection?
Right.
Like, I think so.
What do you think? I don't know how deep you are here. This is definitely more of a second-round cut, but Oscar Tshiebwe. Someone who was a national player of the year last year in college, and is definitely more of kind of like a Montrezl Harrell, maybe is where he would fit in the NBA. Just more of a gritty energy guy who's undersized but can still provide some grit.
I like him. Not for the Kings.
Sure.
I'm kind of.
Yeah, because he's also he's undersized. He's going to be more of a ready now guy, was more my thought process.
And he's undersized. I think what the Kings need is a big ass body.
Maybe they should go Zach Edey.
I mean, for real, he's a terrible defender though, which is crazy because he's
8 feet tall.
But slow-footed. But they need a big.
Yeah.
If I can be technical here. I'm a wordsmith. They need a large big.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need a big body.
Yes.
Big, not tall.
Body. Yeah. Yes, not just tall, they need big. But then there's one of the problems with Derek Lively is he's pretty slender. He's going to need to put on weight. But it's just an interesting conversation because just how philosophy-wise.
Well, and also you can't really, the tough thing about picking in the 20s, Captain Obvious here, you don't know who's going to be there. Like you have no idea what kind of prospects are still going to be there. You don't know how, you can do your research on how you think the draft is going to shake out, but the reality of the situation is you never know who's going to be available at that pick, and that can change things. If you have one guy who you you were like, there's no way this guy's going to be available. You can throw away your entire draft board and just say we're taking that guy. You know,
there were 3 or 4 guys last year who I thought would fit with the Warriors at 28, and I thought Patrick Baldwin would be gone already, but it was Christian Brown,
Exactly.
Wesley, Wendell Moore, David Roddy. These guys, you have no idea who's going to be there.
Right.
And I mean, Chris, good point, dude.
Thanks.
That was sick.
Thanks. Dude.
That was sick.
Check out Chris and Company all week.
Chris and
right
Co.
here.
all week. Is it Company or Co?
I think it's technically Company, but I shortened it to Co just because it was like
Chris and Company
cool,
LLC.
LLC.
Co is cool, dude. That's tight. You're young, dude. That's tight.
Isn't it great to be young?
It's so cool being young, dude.
It's the best.
I'm so down with it.
You're with it?
Yeah, I am very lit.
Down to clown.
I'm turned, dude.
BTC, dude. I'm turning up.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question, young guys.
What's up?
Okay. Youths out there. Is anyone in this draft him? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
We'll see.
Because I think we need to have a conversation about him. And I think it might be time to retire it. And we are going to have a deep discussion on that coming up next on Sackdown Sports.
The Kings season might be over, but Sackdown Sports coverage never stops.
Guys on other teams, when they look at the Sacramento Kings, they feel that this is a fun brand of basketball to play.
Stay tuned all off-season to Sackdown Sports and SackdownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
When they're investigating, we can't stop watching. This month on BritBox, sit back, relax, and enjoy watching the detectives. Discover Britain's most bingeable mysteries, including the brand new season of Grace, the hit series based on the books by best-selling author Peter James. Unwind with the detectives you could watch all night long. Stream them all now exclusively on BritBox. Endlessly intriguing. Start your free trial at BritBox.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Men, you fought hard for the role that you play in your children's lives. This Father's Day, Cordell & Cordell celebrates you the entire month of June. Join us every Friday for our live webinar series, Father's Fridays. There you'll receive much useful information from our panel of speakers. To register, go to CordellCordell.com/Father's Day.
500 Capitol Mall, Suite 2060, Sacramento, California, 95814. CordellCordell.com.
Did you know you can get someone to shop for you? Stitch Fix really gets me in what I need. Even better, they save me a trip to the mall. It's easy. I share my style, size, and budget, and they do the shopping for me. Stitch Fix sends me things that fit and make me feel like a more stylish version of myself. I keep what works and send back the rest. No subscription required, no commitment, just my style. Stitch Fix. Get started today at stitchfix.com/radio.
Hey kids, Carmichael Dave here. Memorial Day, it's really the year's first big outdoor party. Friends, family, fun, and food. Man, Amy's Outdoor Living has food options for you. Maybe even change it up a bit with a new Uni pizza oven. Think about it. Dogs, burgers, and pizza. You're a hero, 100%. Right now at Amy's, save 20% on a new Uni Karu pizza oven at just $239. $239 for a pizza oven. You ready to barbecue? The Traeger Timberline 850, that's the one I have, and the 1300 Geb one are reduced by $600 for Memorial Day. Amy's also has a great selection of umbrellas in stock, perfect for shade in this warm weather. Need patio furniture? From now to Memorial Day, Amy's will pay the sales tax on all in-stock patio furniture, cushions, and umbrellas. Amy's Outdoor Living, El Camino near Watt, and inside Amy Ace Hardware in the El Dorado Town Center.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sackdown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
What's up, guys? Sacktown Sports, Charles T. Hamilton, Chris Watkins, Kyle Ledbetter running the show.
Yes, sir.
Taking you up to A's baseball. I just wanted to finish with something that's been bugging me a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just old because you guys are the young guys, dude. Shout out young guys.
Shout them out.
Shout out the Utes.
Yeah, young people.
Shout out to Utes.
Yeah.
The term him.
Yeah,
I think we need to retire it. I am so sick of it. And on top of that, let's retire Let's Go. But let's start
like just
with
as
him.
like an exclamation.
Let's go.
It ended with Tom Brady.
Yeah. Oh man, I think it ended before that. But yeah, Tom Brady, get out of here. But him.
You want to have a him conversation?
Yeah, I gotta have a conversation
All right,
about
let's talk
him.
about
I'm
him.
sick of it because the whole he's him.
Yeah,
I'm
he's him. He's him.
Himmy Butler.
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet.
That's Josh Giddey for people who don't know.
There it is. Let's just, if we're gonna keep it, we need ground rules.
Yeah. There can only be one him.
There can only be one him, at least one per sport at most.
Or at least one per conference.
Okay.
You know?
One per team tops.
Yes.
Okay.
1000% can only be
That's
one
it.
him.
That's it.
Because I would argue De'Aaron Fox is him.
One per position group per team, and we're
Yeah,
calling
and then we're calling
That's
it.
Kevin
That's
Herter's
the one.
also him. That's tough.
There's a lot of hymns.
Yeah.
Here's the other question. Should I just lean into it? Charles.
I think it's late at this point.
Charles Hamilton.
That's not bad.
Chris Watkins.
You got a future in this kid.
Davion Himchel. No,
Okay,
that's
no,
not.
too far.
I'm sick of it.
I agree. I think it's definitely gotten one of those things where it's like it's getting played out. It's getting played out.
When
sure.
anything reaches kind of the sports lexicon, it kind of reaches it too late and gets played out immediately.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Like the dab.
I was gonna say, I still
hit that thing.
we'll throw one around,
might get a nosebleed every so often, just dabbing too
don't
hard.
get me wrong, but yeah, the dab showed up, and
Right.
about 5 minutes later, it was too much.
You know what's really funny about
What?
the dab specifically? It's funny you bring that up. I watched like a video. Remember when Cam Newton, obviously Cam Newton was doing his thing, and I think it was the Commanders or whatever they were going by at the time.
Football team.
Didn't want him to dab on them, and so Cam scored the touchdown, and I can't remember what they did to try and prevent him from dabbing, but he essentially looked right in like a linebacker's face and then dabbed on him twice.
I don't want to fact check you here. It was
Yeah.
the Tennessee Titans,
Okay.
and it was Rashawn Evans
There you
because
go.
it was one of the funniest things I've ever freaking seen.
So that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is in the moment I
Yeah.
was like, that's like top 3 coolest things I think I've ever seen in my
Mhm.
life. Like he just dabbed on his face
Yeah.
when he didn't want him to. Like
Yeah.
what? And then I watched it, like I said, like 2 weeks ago or so, and I was like, wow, that just did not hit at all. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, like I felt like an old man in that moment because I was like, oh, this is what it's like to have a fad happen and
I'm a
you're
young guy.
you just like completely missed it and you're like, oh, I guess that's what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
And
Oh, so
I
you're
fully
saying
got
it's
that perspective.
chuggy now. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
That's so chuggy.
Yeah. Chuggy. Oh, I thought you said Tubi. I
No,
was like, oh, I
Tubi's
thought we were
like a
making fun of Tubi.
No, chuggy.
That's
It's
how
an
washed I am.
actual word.
You said Chuby?
Chuggy.
Chuggy.
It's an actual word. It's like
Maybe?
something. It's exactly what you're describing. Some like the dab is chuggy. The Office is chuggy. Like things that were cool at one time, but now you look back and it's kind
Whoa.
of
Wait,
weird.
did you just go with The Office?
Yeah, I just threw that out there. Like it was cool 10 years ago, but you look back now, it's kind of weird that it was super
I mean,
popular.
I'm not like the biggest Office defender,
Yeah.
but
Don't you have a big Pam thing?
it's not Oh, I can't stand Pam.
Yeah.
She's probably the worst character on the show. Pam and Jim was the most played out, overrun.
Dude,
It
you're
took
being
like
super
5
chuggy
seasons.
right now.
No,
Could you not?
no,
Like
stop. I'm being so lit. Okay. I'm
so
just-
happening right
dude,
now.
I'm keeping it a buck.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
No cap.
No,
Dude, absolutely no cap.
never.
The dictionary definition of chuggy is anything around 2013.
Never capping,
Oh
dude.
my god.
Not me.
Chuggy sounds like it should probably be dumped
that
on
should
radio.
probably be. Yeah.
You know, it
Wait,
sounds,
you guys have never. I guess I'm the young person.
No,
here.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
I'm washed. I
But
officially
only-
have never heard that term.
Only in the same context of old people talking about young people stuff.
Oh.
But yeah, dude, it's chuggy. Let's Go needs to go also. I'm done with Let's Go.
I don't feel the let's go thing.
What, you like it or you don't?
No, I just like I don't. It's not in my
Oh, you don't hear
lexicon.
people say
No,
it
I don't
all the
really.
time?
No. I mean, just in general, like it's a general exclamation, like yeah, like let's go.
Oh, dude, $2 beers. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Uh,
That's not lit. That's not happening with
I
the.
mean, it's not fire.
It's not fire.
I'll say that
Yeah.
it's not fire.
For true,
dude.
for true.
For true, dude. For straight up.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So it's mild.
Yeah,
It's mid, dude. No, it's mid.
mid.
It's super mid. No cap. It's mid, dude.
Dude, never cap. Not me.
No.
Not me. But him needs to go. So does Let's Go. You know what? Maybe
Is there anything that you're in on, like in terms of?
Yeah, 2002 slang. Okay.
So it's
tight. It's tight.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tight. It's sick.
Fresh.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Dude, Jinx. We said dope at the same time.
That is washed. That's super chuggy.
No, dude, you're washed. Don't even say that. Don't come at the office, bro.
That's wild.
That is wild.
That's wild that the office is now
I know. It's chuggy.
considered. Yeah, it's considered chuggy.
I
now.
feel like it has been for a while now.
Oof.
Kyle, how old are you? You hinted at stuff, but how old are you actually?
How old do you think I am?
You said after 2000. I think you graduated, right? So 21, 22?
Yeah, 21. I was born in June of 2001.
I
Might
just finished my freshman year of high school.
Oof.
Wow.
I was in first grade.
Yeah, you guys, my young guys,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
My young fellas,
We're your
man,
pups.
keeping me hip on the
Yeah.
lingo.
Might be the first Gen Z sports radio producer in America. Who knows?
Hey, who
Maybe,
knows?
man.
Who knows?
So
Only
you're
time will
Gen
tell.
Z. I didn't know what Gen Z was. I mean, I know it's like below. It's young.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. If you're between 97 and 2000, you could be either Gen Z or what's the one before that? Millennial.
Millennial.
Yeah.
Why'd you say it like
yes.
that?
If you're after 2000, you're pretty much Gen Z at that point.
Millennials.
Millennials are so lit. And you don't even know how we do.
Millennials aren't even the young one. Yeah, now it's the Gen
Yeah,
Zers
it's Gen
that
Z,
are like
dog.
the
Yeah,
ones
Gen
that
Z are
we can
adults
get
now.
mad at.
We're old. We got A's baseball coming up. I would love to give you like a preview or something, but I'm not.
Can't do it.
I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, the Oakland A's are on pace to finish below 40 wins. That's a thing that's happening.
That is a thing that is happening. That would be the lowest win percentage, I believe, in MLB
I mean,
history.
it's a
right? They're
real
on that
life.
pace.
It's a real life major league. The movie Major League. The
Yeah.
A's are the real life major league, and they don't have like Charlie Sheen coming out being funny or anything.
How do you feel? So
They
you're
don't have a
you're
a roided out Charlie Sheen throwing.
they
in the
could
ninth,
use
man.
one. They could really use one. How do you feel about just like the A's attendance thing? Like, as an A's fan, where do you fall? And obviously, people do whatever you please. If you want to go out to the ballpark right now, feel free because you can get a great seat. But where do you fall just with all the relocation stuff? Obviously, with the team being absolute hot garbage, where do you fall in terms of like supporting the team at this point in time?
That's all I got. They're bad. I mean,
Yeah.
and ownership is driving fans away, and they might
Mhm.
relocate. And look, MLB attendance isn't great anyways.
Exactly.
So if you're telling me that they moved to Vegas and it's a attraction and they get like I get it.
Mhm.
I'm kind of dull to some of the fan stuff.
Yeah.
From working in
Right,
sports media,
exactly, yeah.
where like I understand the business side.
Right.
It's been kind of whack the way they've done it.
It's been terrible the way they
Yeah.
look like they're making everybody look like idiots.
So
all parties involved.
But I understand the end game, so to speak.
Right.
But I also don't know because it is baseball and a baseball attendance isn't great across the league.
Mhm.
So like the Raiders moving to Vegas, that made sense.
Makes
I
sense,
get it.
right. And also, right. Like people will.
Yeah.
That's a
They're
once a week
doing-
thing. If you're in Vegas on a
Financially,
Sunday,
they're
you'll
doing
go.
great.
Yeah.
They're doing great. I mean, don't get me started on, their offseason and Jimmy G.
Right. I would love to hear your. I know. Sucks we didn't have
I hate
enough
it.
time.
I hate it.
I would love to get your Raider
Chris, I
thoughts.
hate it.
I know you.
I
got
don't know
so many
why
Raider
they
thoughts.
are actively getting worse. Like that was their decision. Is like, you know what? What if we got worse this
Dude,
offseason?
Derek Carr is mad average. What if we got someone who
Yeah.
is even more average?
What if we, at the best case scenario, got someone who's a lateral move?
Yeah.
And then trade our best receiver.
Thoughts?
Sounds sick. Dude, sounds pretty Raider to me, honestly.
So yeah, I'm upset. I'm upset with all my teams.
Mhm.
But as far as the A's go, yeah, if it financially, if it works out, it's obviously not working in Oakland. Like at a certain point, you just kind of have to throw your hands up. And I feel bad for the diehard Oakland A's fans that do go to games and are super into the A's because, the right field, I don't know if they're
Right, the
bleacher
crazies
creatures,
or whatever. Yeah,
bleacher whatever.
creatures, yes.
They're great and they love
They're
the
phenomenal,
A's.
yeah.
And, there's still some fun stuff going on. I still
Right.
love Ramon Laureano. But it's just hard to get hyped for a team that,
Right.
like Kyle said, is on pace to win 40 freaking games and is where ownership's trying to do everything they can to get out of there. We have the Aces game on in the studio, and we just saw Mark Davis. Man, that guy, I love that guy, man.
Yeah, he's
Kind of
you want to talk about a bleacher
kind
creature?
of ironically, but I love just go ahead, man.
He's as a human, what an interesting thing. Like to go with that look and really rock it with confidence is definitely a decision. It's definitely a thing that he decided to do. But yeah, no,
it is his decision too. That was a report that like Fallon Smith did. She talked to his hairdresser. And the hairdresser was like, look, I just do what I'm told. This is what he wants.
He wants this.
Like,
he
dude,
literally wants me to put a bowl over his head and then cut all the hair that shows outside the bowl.
He found his look when he was 5 years old.
Yep.
And has not strayed from it.
Nope.
Dude, shout out.
No.
Right
Shout out Mark Davis, who is
And
still wearing billionaire
I
clothes,
love the
but
idea that
$5
he's
haircut.
kind of like king of Vegas, but he's like a name in Vegas.
He is,
he's a big deal in Vegas.
Owns a good majority, if not all of the aces at this point. You know, they won a title last year. Raiders. Seems like Mark Davis might actually be the A's biggest proponent for staying in Oakland because of his supremacy in Vegas. So yeah, I mean, good on Mark Davis to go somewhere where he's not completely. I don't think the city of Oakland necessarily loved the Mark Davis era of Oakland Raider football.
I mean, he was another guy actively trying to leave. So
exactly.
Anyways, you know what? This was awesome.
This was
ton
a
of
dream
fun
come
hanging with
true.
my boy Chris Watkins. No, him is retired. We decided to retire it. That's
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. We got A's baseball coming up next. Thank you guys so much for
Appreciate
listening. Kyle running the show behind the glass. Thank you, Chris. A lot of fun, man.
A lot of fun.
Hopefully
Hopefully
this
not
isn't
too much fun.
Yeah,
we'll see.
we were good enough. I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll
we'll get in too much trouble. Slipped a few in there. Sacktown Sports.
Check it out.
Left center. The high set, the leg kick, the pitch. Fastball, strike three, called high octane at 95.
It's time to take you inside the clubhouse with the A's Total Access pregame